Well, hello everybody. How are we doing? It's been a week. We've had a lot go on over here in Kobold Press. For example, Tales of the Valiant Alpha is finally out. If you back the Kickstarter, you already have your free access to it, but I wanted to go over it here for those who maybe missed the Kickstarter, didn't want to back right away, wasn't sure, didn't have the money, who knows, missed all the announcements. But we wanted to go over it here to give everyone a chance to look at it and to let you know you can still get a copy. You can pick it up either at koboldpress.com or through DriveThruRPG, wherever you store all your digital goods. So I'm looking at the wrong camera, I just realized. This is my old camera, but my new camera's here. Hi, camera. I got a new camera that tracks me and does some stuff for upcoming shows, so you might see me look the wrong way for a while because I'm so used to staring at this one. This one's real tiny. How are we all doing today? We're doing well. Welcome, Kobolds, to the show. Don't worry, KY, no, we have not ran you off yet, but maybe soon. I'm just kidding. I don't know how many of you have already looked through the alpha. There is a lot of stuff in here. A lot of stuff. Like, it's a lot of pages. I mean, there's really nothing else I can say about it other than there are a ton of pages in here. 177 pages, 4 classes, all of their different pieces that you can pick. On top of that, we've included our new equipment list, our weapons, our armors, our items, and then spells, and of course, monsters. This is a full-fledged playtest. And we know, since this is a big playtest, that 2 weeks wasn't going to be an adequate amount of time for you to be able to give us a survey back. So we said, why 2 weeks? We'll do 2 months. So we're doing a whole 2 months. And yeah, it is going to take a bit to digest. Scary that this is a preview. Yeah, it's a big chunk. It's a miniature game. We wanted you to be able to take it to your table and actually play. So all of our other ones, when everyone's like, they're too small, that's because we were building to this, everybody. We were building to a 177-page preview that takes some time to do. So we had a lot of things to get in a row. We're putting them out bite-sized to get those keystone foundational pieces of the system ready and to make sure that they function and that we're going in a direction that not only we like, but the people who are going to be playing it like. I'm excited. I haven't been excited about a 5e product, a game system, in a long time. There's been a lot of them over the years. I really do enjoy this. I feel like when I make a character in this, after making the first 4 Valiant, I felt like they were powerful. Like they had choices. Like their levels mattered. There didn't feel like there's any dead spots. I've really enjoyed the idea of how you build your, what our version of race is now. I feel like it lets you really have some choices, some really good choices. And the design team's kind of been crushing it. They've been working long hours and making sure this was ready to go. And there's still more. We're not done yet. So we have a couple things to go over before we start diving into the packet itself. There's a few things that are important. One, if you don't know about it, this is the TOV website. You can get things from there. I'll bring us over to our work page here, and I'll boot up this as well. If you want to pick up the TOV, this is the site you can get it on. You can also get it on DriveThruRPG. If you did not back the Kickstarter, you can pick it up for $9.99. If you did back the Kickstarter, make sure you're checking your emails, check your, wherever you get like publicity pieces or you get marketing pieces from companies, it's probably going to be under there. Make sure you check it and get your download. If not, you can always check customer service and go through customer service to find out. I know we're set one batch out with everybody in it, but we're going to remind everybody again later this week, just in case you missed it or it got lost in your email. We're going to do another re-remind because we know that nothing's worse than waiting for the goodness and getting lost. On this page, I want to remind you, if you are looking to run anything that is Tales of the Valiant for your home game, or maybe you want to stream it like I do, there is the creator kit that is here now. This is free. This is our gift to you. This has the first 4 Valiant in it. On top of that, it has tokens for them, full overlay setups, and the whole 9 yards. We also did bookmarks. If this is something you're going to print out on your own, or you want bookmarks for Tales of the Valiant, there's a free PDF bookmark you can download. And then last, let's just say you're not ready to take the plunge for $9.99. Like, you're still not sure. There is the preview PDF that we put out, which is like about half the size, actually a little smaller than half the size of the full alpha release. You can always download that preview, check it out, and then decide if that's what you want to do. You can find all that stuff on the links that are in chat right now. Also, the TOV website is a great source for everything. We have everything across the top for what is going on, including our fact that we update during each playtest. And then, of course, if you scroll down here, the thing I point out every time, and I'm going to continue doing it to help answer questions about you having to wait for us, there is the schedule of releases. So public feedback, iteration, design, consulting, everything that we're doing through here, on top of that, our schedule. And you can see that right now we're in that July with Alpha release. Gen Con, we will be doing live community playtest. There's a link there to sign up. I always tell people, if this is your first time at Gen Con, like you've never been to Gen Con, or maybe you haven't been to a convention before. If you're interested in playing, I know that we are sold out of our tables right now, but remember, people sleep in, people drink, people forget, people get busy. Get yourself some generic tickets and show up and stop by the room that we have for playtest, and there's a chance the slot will open up. We have, I think it's over 120 tables, if I remember correctly. And with that 120 tables, when you leave, whatever character you're playing, we have miniatures made for all the Valiant. There's more than the 4, by the way. And you'll be able to take that miniature home with you if you're playing at the table. That's kind of like our extra, like, look, we're just as excited as you are. Take this swag with you as you leave. So you can find all your playtest packets here. Your feedback forms are in each one of the PDFs. And I think that's most of my news for today. Let me check back in the Kobold den here, see if I missed anything. Surveys 2 months, Gen Con. Oh, Discord. Make sure you're checking our Discord if you haven't. There is a really active group of people in our Discord. If you're looking to be involved in things or pick up a game or anything like that, check out our Discord as well. So, I see a question. Any idea if there'll be any plans of a living campaign a la the old RPGA Living World setup? I know there's a lot of talks in the background. That is one of the, no matter what company I've been at, that is one of those things like where everybody wants it, and we want to make sure you do it right. Right now, we have started back up Kobold Chronicles on the Discord. That is with paid GMs running games, and that, I think that's once a month right now. I think it's the last Sunday of every month, if I remember correctly. The next one is going to be in August, maybe one at the end of July, but I know it's really close to Gen Con. So check out Discord. There's a lot of info on that piece. I would love to see an organized play. I personally really love the concept of organized play, but I don't have any like real details. But what I'll do what I always do. I'll write it down over here in my little notes section on my table to take it back to the den and ask questions. So are we going to have org play? It's a good question. I want it. Let's see what we get out of that. So, let's see here. Let me pull up my info board. Oop, that's the wrong one. Where are you at? Show notes. So we went over our news. We're going to go over the TOV Alpha today. On top of going the TOV Alpha, it's a 2-month playtest. Gen Con, yes, we will be there. A few of the Kobolds will be there. We do have a live show as well. Speaking of live shows, if you are going to Gen Con, there are a few tickets still available for the live show. I'm going to drop this in our chat. If you're going, pick them up while you can. And then I have one a release that we had this week, which I will talk about towards the end of the show here, because I have a physical copy here, so I can show you what it is, which I'm kind of pumped for. Is there any other questions out of the gate that I can answer before we dive into looking over the alpha? Is there anything I can answer for anybody in between? I believe they're called con bites. Yeah, possibly. They're called con bites. I can tell you that I will be there. I'm going to be recording stuff. I'm bringing this new little camera. This little camera, by the way, just because I'm so happy with it. Notice how it tracks me? Right? Tracks me, which is pretty cool. That little thing fits in this little section here. It's got its own gimbal and everything. So I'll be bringing that with us. I'm going to be doing some interviews. I'll stop by a bunch of the different rooms and talk to all the people that are out there. And I'm excited just to talk to the fans, see what everyone thinks of TOV, put out a bunch of shorts, maybe shoot some stuff with people. for video wise, and any other content creators that are out there. I would love to meet up. I know the Valiant Soil people are going to be meeting up at some point, but I'm happy to meet anyone who's going. I love meeting people in the community. So with that, is there any questions? Are we good? Can we dive in? Looking forward to playing. Me too, KY. Me too. Let's dive into this, shall we? So, told you it's big, and I'm not kidding. This is the alpha release. 177 pages of absolute goodness. I got our blue highlighter ready here, everybody, so that we can dive into this and really look at what there is. There's a couple of things that I will tell you that is pretty special. The buying points for this, everybody has been telling me, like, why TOV? If you're a 5e player and you want something where you can convert other 5e content that you have that be old adventures, new adventures from other publishers, or you have a campaign that's already pre-existing and going, TOV runs parallel to your 5e games. What I mean by that is it's not a one-for-one transition. It is a easy to transition. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you need a fighter, there's a fighter. The abilities are similar. There will be options for things that you have. If not, old 5e stuff still plays. You can play a 5e class with the Tales of the Valiant class in the same game because the core mechanics are the same. We haven't changed the idea of core mechanics. The only things that are big that have changed is we've gotten rid of inspiration and we've brought in luck. And for the GM, we've given them Doom. I love Doom. And to answer the questions in chat, it's a really good question to start. How much of alpha release changed from the public playtest? Constant iterations. Constant. Like, you'll see that Doom is different now. It still works the same, but how you pull it up and where you get it is a little bit different as we go through this. The classes change. The idea of character creation is the same, but we've changed some of the lineage and heritage to make it cleaner. It's really fun. No, it is not a dice pool. It's a little different than that. I love Doom. I even showed how easy it is to adopt Doom and do different things with it with the Tales of the Valiant series. If you missed the Tales of the Valiant series, they're all over on YT. And then next Friday, I'm planning on doing something special with all the videos from TOV. Specifically, the Tales of the Valiant stuff that we did for Valiant Soil. So, table of contents, pretty big. I'm going to try zooming this in one and see if that still looks good. Perfect. So it's all here. Everything's here. All of your stuff that you can need. All of these are in here. Your chapter 1 is character creation. Chapter 2 is playing the game. Chapter 3 is equipment and magic. Equipment is new. It was not in the old one. Spell casting is in here, and then monsters. That's the breakdown in the chapters of what we are going to be looking at today. So I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna do these little highlights for us to kind of give us the things. I'm gonna leave these in place. It makes sense to me. We did put an appendix in here as well for people, just in case. Oops, let's undo that one. I'm gonna highlight the whole thing. Does anyone else sing Doom song for Invader Sim in their head when we talk about Doom? Oh my Lord, I forgot about that. I totally have forgotten about that. That is a really good point. I wonder if that's on TikTok. If that Doom Invader Zim, hold on a minute here. I'm gonna make I'll put that up. When I talk Doom, I will put that on as the background music. Good call. Doom, Zim, short. I'll see if I can get it in the background, because that would be hilarious. So, let's dive through this. All of this is pretty much the same. As far as I've been told, the fantasy in the nutshell hasn't changed, right? This is all the same, but character creation. I asked this up front, I'll repeat it now. The process is a little different than how I do it, but once I was told why, it makes sense. The character creation concept is you come up with your concept, and the first thing you do is choose your class. That is different than what I would normally do. For me, I always picked my race first because it gave me the bonuses I want. But choosing your class determines what your primary stat is that you need. So that is why they're telling you to pick that first. You go into determining your ability scores. There's numerous ways to do it, 3 ways to score. All the things we talked about, we've kept them. We know everybody likes doing this differently. We're not telling you one way is right or wrong. It's your home game. I keep looking at the wrong camera. It's your home game. Do whatever you want for it, right? We're just putting ways here for you to use. That's what we're doing. You have your ability modifiers. They're the same. We haven't changed the modifiers. We've went back and forth, but this was a core concept that we needed to keep to make sure that when you bring 5e stuff over, it still works. So as we scroll down here, let me scroll this over here. Oops, didn't mean to do that. As we scroll down, there are a few things that we're going to get into, but I want to point out this checklist. This checklist on page 8 is huge. This gives you the walkthrough of what to do to make sure you don't miss anything. This is good for new players and for people learning TOV. I think this was a great addition. I'm super happy we did this. And you're gonna notice little sidebar notes from the designers and how to GM and things like that throughout the book. That is something I know we have adopted throughout the playtest, and I think we're keeping that behind the curtain feel. I think it's important personally. I'm super happy that we're doing it. So, after level 1, we break down your experience. It's only 1 through 5. Don't worry, we are going to level 20. Those of you that got the preview for the Ranger and the Druid from the Kickstarter, you already know we're showing 1 through 10 on those two to give you a better idea of those bigger levels. If you back the Kickstarter, make sure you go look for those. You can download the Ranger and Druid. Let me tell you what, I am so excited about the Druid. I was gonna showcase those two things today, but then Alpha dropped on Monday. I was like, well, we're doing Alpha. So expect me to probably be looking at those next week, since the survey will be over for them by then. Super pumped. Your hit points, all the normal things you expect. Your classes, nice little bite-sized piece here. This gives you what they do, their hit die, their key ability score, or the one you choose in the case of the fighter, and then your save proficiencies and equipment proficiencies that you get. Nice little bite-sized piece for you as you're making your character. You've watched Valiant Soil. You know that I made all of the Valiant based on our art pieces for this. That is a continued thing that we're currently doing. It's based on art pieces that we have. Our Cleric of War here, who worships Athena. Currently, not saying it won't maybe change when we finalize our gods and their abilities, but right now, that's what we're looking at. If you haven't seen this, we've given you quick builds for each one of the classes to help you out for like how to build them out. I think this was an important piece. We've seen this a lot over the years that people are, I don't know, it helps newer people, but it also helps if you're a GM like, oh, I'm so in the weeds, I'm making monsters, how does a class work? You can easily share that with your group. We've kept the classic stuff. Each class is gonna have your hit points, right? Yeah, thank you, I like that as well. Each class, their proficiencies, their armor, their weapon, their tools, their saves, and skills. Notice it's very 5e still. We kept the core so you can play with your other 5e characters. Then we get into your starting equipment. This is one of my favorite things got added in 5e. I am so glad that we kept this as a way to quickly build them out with an A and B selection process where you go through the bullet points and pick out what you want. I would like to point out, obviously, D8 hit points, con modifier, hit points at higher levels, and we scroll down and we get into spell casting. One of the biggest changes for us in 5e is the classes and trying to get rid of dead levels and to make them more interesting, especially the martial classes. And then spell casting. After we did Deep Magic Volume 1 and Volume 2, we really wanted to make sure that magic felt magical? You know what I'm saying? Like actually magical? So we have done a lot to make magic feel more. I think it's a really good improvement with what we've done. We'll try to dive into the magic a little bit here. I have done it in other Kobold chats. You can always go back through and look at them. Scroll down, we give you a list of gods to play with for this playtest, just to kind of get you ideas, suggested domains, suggested source of where they're from, and their symbol, just to get you going, just so you can play in this little set piece, whatever it is you're going to make. You could also adopt your own things if you needed to. We did a behind the curtain. Remember I said we're going to continue doing this. So this is a big one. Cleric subclasses are now chosen at 3rd level instead of 1st. This accomplishes several goals. This was a question to a lot of people. Why did we do this? Well, this is why. It standardizes class progression with all the players. So when milestones or power points or big boosts happen, not only the players on the same page as they level up, it also lets the GM plan. Instead of having that weird ladder where like the fighter has a rung that's really important, the wizard has one here and the cleric has one here, and you get this really weird up and down pivot a bar graph, instead of everybody in your table going, oh yeah, level 3, we pick our subclass. So we've standardized that to make it easier across the board. On top of that, it better spreads around cleric features, so players have more time to master the cleric abilities before introducing the next complex piece. You gotta remember, every time a class gets something, you're adding a complexity to the game. This helps cut the complexity down so that everyone's learning together. And it also makes like milestone pieces for leveling. I love this. What do you all think? Do you like the idea of the level 3, like boom, here we go, everyone gets their subclass? I think it's great. Big Puppy doesn't like it. Why don't you like it, Big Puppy? I'm always here to listen. You still get stuff at first level. It's not like we took things away at first level. You still get things. It's just not your third level. Also, in our reviews and studies, we found that a lot of people start at third level once they've been playing for a while, and not first, because they're excited about that feature. When they start at third, it gives you a little bit of hit point pool. You're not as squishy at third level as you are at first. Those are some of the other reasons that I know we added them. It makes third level more exciting. Previous third level granted no new class features in Cleric. You got nothing at third. 0. And because of that, we replaced that first level with Manifestation of Faith. A new first level feature that allows the cleric to gain additional proficiencies or enhance the power of their spells, depending on whether you want to play more like warrior-like or a miracle worker. Subclass. Just your subclass. You get your subclass. We added these pieces in. We added some different pieces in. You get Channel Divinity, which is now Turn the Profane. This is replaced Turn Undead. Turn the Profane works the same way, but affects Undead and now Fiends, allowing clerics to feel like they're not just undead magnets. They're against anything evil, right? Anything evil kind of feel. So you got your Undead and your Fiends in this. We hope this gives the feature more play in the scope than just saying X. I'll be honest. Yeah, I love it, Myth. I think we're going to see more in the future. I think you're going to see more talents and options come out where maybe that Turn the Profane encapsulates some other things. You know what I mean? Like, what if it was for aberrations? What if it was for dealing with dragons? I could see that get expanded with talents and some other fun things. Or maybe a subclass. Not saying that is going on. I'm just saying I think we could see that. I'm excited for that. So, and then we have Destroy the Profane. This has replaced Destroyed Undead. Destroy the Profane works the same way, but it affects Undead, now Fiends, in addition to Undead creatures. We just wanted to give you a little more oomph to it, right? Manifestation, Channel Divinity. 2nd level. You can, once per rest, do Channel Divinity, right? Your cantrips, your rituals, your Ring 1, Ring 2, Ring 3 spells. This is the naming convention we're going with right now for spells. I know Discord has got a big discussion on it. They are looking on it at the back end, but as of this playtest, Ring is the new one. Welcome, Frog! We're going over the alpha, 177 pages of goodness. So, Manifestation of Faith. This is it here. You'll notice there's something kind of cool with Manifestation of Faith. There's more than just that little blurb that is explaining it. All clerics, regardless of deity, demonstrate their faith in one or two primary ways. Wielding as a holy warrior or calling forth a worker of miracles. You choose one of the following ways your faith most readily manifests. Manifest Might, you gain proficiency with heavy armor, martial weapons. In addition, you gain the ability to infuse your weapon strikes with divine energy. So this is cool to me because I feel like the turn thing just went to the wayside a lot when you didn't have, in the old version, Undead. And in this version, just Undead or Fiends. Now, we're letting you do more with it. Empowering it. We saw feats in the past allow you to empower your weapons and do things with manifestations before the turn ability. Well, now you got Manifestation of Faith. Once on each of your turns, when you hit a creature with a weapon you attack, you can cause the attack to deal additional radiant or necrotic damage, your choice, equal to your proficiency bonus, kind of charging your weapon with things. If you are Manifestation of Miracles, you learn 1 additional cantrip of your choice from any cleric magic. This cantrip counts as divine cantrip for you, but it does not count against the number of cantrips you know. Additionally, you can add your PB to damage you deal with any divine cantrip, so making you really more of a caster versus being a war cleric. So you can see we're trying to empower the classes, and you're going to see this kind of continue throughout each one of them. You get your Channel Divinity. We touched on this, which is Turn the Profane. 3rd level, you're going to get your Cleric feature, and you get domain spells. Each subclass has a list of domain spells. The Cleric feature, you choose one for your deity at 3rd. So you already have your turn, you have a Manifestation of Power, you have your Channel Divinity, and then you get your class feature for casting spells. You'll notice this comes into play when you get your 2nd ring. So you're going to have 1st level and 2nd ring, 1st ring and 2nd ring spells that you can cast coming from your domain. You get an improvement at 4th level. We're used to this. This is that whole idea of, am I going to increase one ability score of choice by 1? Or choose a talent in this. And the old version in 5e was feats, right? So for us, we wanted talents to be a building block of your character. And instead of in 5e where feats were optional, we're saying no, talents are part of the game. Pick a talent or pick an ability score bonus. If you're just looking to raise them DCs, get more hit points, be better at attacking, maybe the stat is better. No, Paladin will be something in the future. We are just making sure that clerics have a little bit more oomph to them. You'll notice that it is not Smite. It is very different than Smite. But you'll see that when Paladin comes out. Core classes are still core classes. We are doing. But good question, Pig. Good question, Big Puppy. Good question. And it's not a subtype of cleric. As of right now, it is its own class in the background. My understanding. Things can change, though. It's a playtest. Sure, for the parallel we'll be keeping. So as we go through, you can see the destroys at 5th level, half or lower, half a CR or lower. You blow up and kill fiends and destroy fiends, and you destroy undead. And then you get your subclasses. Right now, there's only 2 in here: Life and War. That's the 2 that are in here: Life and War domain. That is it. Okay, but there will be more domains as the final comes out. You'll notice they give you a list of cool spells that you can get for the life domain underneath. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Here. And then the same thing for the war domain. The spells are very appropriate. Bless, Cure, Lesser Restoration, Airplane Flying By, Spiritual Weapon, Beacon of Hope, Revivify. And then on the war side, Command, Shield of Faith, Magic Weapon, Spiritual Weapon, and then, of course, Fear and Spirit Guardians. We all love Spirit Guardians, right? Oh, I'm toggling back. Don't worry, Lair. I'm toggling back. I was just scrolling to the appropriate page. So you got these different domain pieces that you can see as well. I can see both. I just had to correct something in the background. I'm doing some smoke and mirrors here for you to make sure I have the right things highlighted when I'm talking. As we scroll down, the Channel Divinity, Preserve Life, third level, Life Domain features. And then obviously same thing. If you're going to do your War Domain, you get Mark of Triumph. This one gets Preserve Life. And they talk about the discipline of life and the discipline of war. Our cleric for Valiant Soil was a war cleric. She was awesome. Awesome. It's I don't know. I would say Big will probably see something in the future for that. I don't know personally, but since that was part of Raw originally, I think you'll see something with that coming up. We're just doing the heroic part out of the gate, but really all you do is flip the script. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not hard. It'll probably be, my guess, it would probably be the living. That would be cool if it was a living. And then whatever our angel tag is, I think it's angels, not celestials. I think it's fiends and angels now. I'd have to look at the tags. But I could assume that happens. But no 100% yet. So these features are pretty cool. Use a spell of ring 1 or higher to restore hit points to a creature. This creature regains hit points equal to 2 plus the spell's ring. So you give up casting to heal people with this version, right? The Disciple of War, victory brings you closer to divine. inspiring you to press beyond your normal limits. When you successfully hit a creature while using the attack action, you can choose to make an additional weapon attack as part of the same action, giving you that Cleric of War feel. You can use this feature a number of times a day, equal to your proficiency bonus. You're going to see this a lot. You're going to see the numerical of how many times be proficiency bonus or proficiency bonus plus something a lot in the classes. And this core mechanic design allows you to really flex ideas as you're building new things maybe for your own game, but it also gives a nice foundation to build on by using the proficiency bonus. You notice we break into this. What if my domain wasn't in the list of my god? We do a breakdown on that, kind of talking you through the process. It's your table. Cool thing to look over. But yeah, this is awesome. And you also get the preserve life feature as well. This one is, as an action, you present your holy symbol and evoke healing energy that can restore a number of hit points equal to 5 times your cleric level. We're used to that. That's that heal using those. And then the same thing on this, as a bonus action, you can present your holy symbol and mystically mark one creature you can see in 30 foot, basically like marking them as an enemy of you and your deity and your faith. Until the start of your next turn, any creature who attacks a marked creature has advantage on their first attack. So you can mark an important character, and then other people will get advantage when attacking that person. Pretty cool concept. That moves us into fighter. So fighter's important. Martial classes as a whole have been a problem in 5e. A lot of people have been dissatisfied with martial classes through the history of 5e. And we've done books like Book of Blades and stuff like that to really kind of level up the martial field. The fighter is a great version of the fighter. We've used it with our Swollbald fighter, which worked really well. He was just a beast of a fighter. He was able to take on multiple people by himself. You felt like a real fighter for once. At least in my eyes, you felt like a real fighter. And then those who have the Ranger already, you can see again what the martial classes are. I'm really happy with it. So let's talk fighter. If you were here for the last walkthrough or when we built the Swollbald, you know that the martial classes have been upped as a whole. We start with fighters as adventurers, and then we go into their breakdown of 5 levels. Last stand, martial action at first. Second level, action surge once per rest. Third level, your subclass. We have 2 for each of the classes. 4 is your improvement, same thing as before, stat or talent. And then at 5th level, you get that sexy multi-attack that we always want our fighters to have. D10 hit points, same thing as before. Your proficiencies also available for things. Of course, we have your starting equipment choices and then the quick fighter build as well to kind of get you the easy way to get started. When I built out this Valiant, I built her as a fast fighter, a quick fighter. She's lightly armored, she's a shield, she uses a bearded axe. She turned out great, and I gave her my favorite of the 2 subclasses. While I love Weapon Master, I've always loved Arcane Fighter Casters, and I wanted to showcase it. Some really cool things in that when we get to it. So, here's the big things. For those who have not looked through the preview, or have not looked through any of the stuff that we've put out for the fighter, we've went through, we've listened, we've changed stuff, we've upgraded things. Let me fix my chair. We've upgraded things. There's a couple of cool abilities in here that I think make the martial class. But the biggest thing is martial action, right? This is huge. Last stand is big. Don't get me wrong. It's the ability to like heal yourself with your last stand. If you haven't seen that, it allows you to make sure that you are able to continue fighting. But martial action, your tactical expertise allows you to act quickly on the battlefield. You can take a bonus action on each of your turns in combat. This bonus action can only be used to perform weapon options. See Chapter 3 or one of the unique martial actions granted by this feature. Choose one of the following unique martial actions that you know. This feature grants more benefits at higher levels. So when we get more, you're going to see more. This comes down to, are you a ranged fighter with the aim? Are you a protective fighter with your guard? Are you just a fast, nimble fighter like melee with light weapons and doing 2 light weapon wielding? Are you the big one with the big hammer, the big sword that goes in and just deals damage? These are these actions you can use as a bonus action. They're super cool. They're based on your proficiency bonus for a lot of these. But for example, let's talk wind up. As a bonus action, you take the time to increase the effectiveness of your next weapon's attack. Select one target you can see within 5 foot of you. If you make a melee weapon attack against that target before the end of your turn, you double your proficiency bonus for the first attack roll, letting you really wind up and make sure you're making that hit. Action Surge at 2nd level. This is the core, I believe, feature that really kind of separates them from the old version. When your need is great, you push your body to an absolute limits. On your turn, you can activate this feature to gain an additional action on top of your regular action and possible bonus action. So if you think of this, what this becomes is, can I fight? Can I do more in this section of the fight because I am needed to take out 1 or 2, or I really need to take down this target, or I need to be able to move on the battlefield more. So once you use the feature, it's completed, and then I think it's a short or a long rest, you get it back. So if you take a breather for an hour, you can get this power back. But it's pretty cool. On your turn, you can activate this feature to gain an additional action on top of your regular actions and possible bonus action. Once you use this feature, you must complete a short or long rest before you can use it again. You get it back. So this allows you to move in, attack somebody, right? Maybe you bonus action your quick strike with your 2 weapons, and then you activate it again to get yourself another action, and you move to the next part of the battle to help flank with your rogue, really making you dynamic on the battlefield. Or if you are big into the combat part of it and you're taking down like a big hitter, fighting a golem or something, or an owlbear, you may move in, hit, bonus action to do your wind up, and then you spend it again to take another action to hit it again. It's pretty cool. So right here, Rhodes says, how does the phrase _ to use a bonus action on each of your turns interact with the slow spell? I don't know. I haven't read the slow spell yet. I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe slow is in here. When we get the spells, remind me, and we'll take a look at slow and see what it does. If there's nothing, I'll run it back to the Warrens, and we'll see what we can find out. So fighter subclasses. You got 2 options, the Spellblade and the Weapon Master, right? That's what you get at 3rd level. You pick one of them. That's your discipline, basically your subclass. Improvement, multi-attack. The Spellblade made me so happy. I think most people have seen it are really happy with the Spellblade. It is such a cool subclass. Everyone likes the idea of having an arcane fighter that has some spells and can do some cool stuff. But this one kind of like brought all of my stuff together that I love from Spellblades. So you get arcane casting, you get 2 cantrips, you can see here, boom, boom, right? On top of that, you get your spells known, your first rings, all you get by 5th level, okay? You have your spell slots that you can spend, and how spell slots work. I definitely say read up on spells and spell slots. It's a little different in this. We've made casting a little more flexible for casters, which is fun. Your spell casting ability is still intelligence score, which is important, so maybe that 4th level bonus was to get you an int. Enchant weapon. This is the core of it all. It isn't the spell casting to me, it's this. At 3rd level, it's a crucial step on the path of a Spellblade, is learning to synergize weapons with your magical power. If you spend 1 hour of uninterrupted focus in contact with a weapon, which can be done during a rest, you can imbue the weapon with a limited form of enchantment. This enchantment lasts until you choose to end it, or you use this feature to enchant a different weapon, allowing you to, I found a new magical weapon. Your enchanted weapon functions as a magic weapon and has the following properties. You have +1 to attack rolls and damage rolls made with it. The weapon would normally grant a magical bonus to attack and damage. Your enchantment bonus stacks with the weapon's existing magical bonus, enhancing your magical weapon to be better than it was before. This is my favorite. You can use a bonus action to summon the weapon to your hand, as long as you're on the same plane of existence. When you do so, the weapon instantly appears in your hand. Creatures who handle or inspect the enchanted weapon can't tell its true magical item, unless, of course, the weapon was magic to begin with. Otherwise, it follows the rules of typical magical item use, see Chapter 3. So, hear me out here. going back to that action surge thing, right? You could run in. Maybe in one hand you have a one-use item. Boom, you smash somebody with one-use item, right? You bonus action your axe and hit them, or if that dropped them, you bonus action call your weapon to you and then throw it. Because you have the extra action from the action surge. Super fun. Fighters feel versatile now. I love it. And then of course we got Weapon Master, which is all about doing stunts, crushing out damage, re-rolling those ones that are really low on your dice rolls that don't make you feel like you're really a Weapon Master. And you got your different stunts that you can pick under Weapon Master. Things like Arcing Strike, Cheap Shot, Make It Count, Parry, Redirect. These are all things that you get in Weapon Master. Riposte, Run Through, and then Shifting Strike. You also have the ability to re-roll your damage a couple times a day. I believe proficiency bonus, if memory serves, when your dice rolls are just crappy and those ones aren't looking good. And if I remember correctly, I think it is once a turn. I'm pretty sure. Allows you to re-roll that damage once a turn. So once per turn, you roll damage. Yep, right here. Here we are. Once a turn, when you roll damage for an attack with a weapon you have mastered, you can re-roll the weapon's damage dice and use either result. Man, I rolled a bunch of ones on this one. I'm re-rolling it. Pretty awesome. Now we get into the Rogue. Rogue is a beloved class by many. It is martial with a lot of tools of the trade and tricks that you can do. Liaison is the person we built here. I built it for Valiant Soil off of this artwork. If you're wondering where it came from here. So let's take a look at the Rogue. The Rogue has got a lot of stuff here. The Rogue has got all the hit points. It's D8. On top of that, you get light armor, simple weapons, all your proficiencies you expect, right? Your tools as well, Thieves' Tools. Dex or Int is important for your saves. And then you choose your skills. And on top of that, your starting equipment, all the normal things you expect. But then we get into the Rogue build. There's a quick Rogue build for you. You have your expertise, your sneak attack. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Your sneak attack, and then Thieves' Cant. These are your levels you're going through, first level stuff. You go into the next one, you get your cunning action, your Rogue subclasses, improvement, uncanny dodge, cold-blooded, and then expanded talent list. Now, that's the Rogue subclass. I apologize. I didn't mean to actually do these last two yet. Now let's look at some of these. Expertise. You choose 2 skill proficiencies or one of your skill proficiencies and 1 proficiency with Thieves' Tools. Your proficiency bonus is doubled. These are 2 things as a rogue you are really good at. Period. Sneak attack, we all know and love it. We know how it works. You're exploiting weakness and doing extra damage. You don't need advantage on attack roll if another enemy of the target is within 5 foot of it. The enemy isn't incapacitated and you don't have disadvantage on your attack roll. So, it's pretty cool. You have to be a weapon with finesse property or be ranged. So you're not doing this with great swords, everybody. But you get your sneak attack. And all you need is the ability to get in there and do some stabby. Thieves' Cant, underutilized in games. I just want to point that out. I love Thieves' Cant. I think it's a great way to convey information between criminals and a lot of fun things you can do and secret messages that can be passed. And if y'all know me, Secret is the name of the game. I mean, I made a shirt for it. Rip the Great Sword Rogue. Hey, maybe in the future there'll be a talent for it, right? But it has to be a finesse weapon. Let's see here. Thieves' Cant does a bunch of fun stuff. Your signs, you can mark loot, you can do things with your guild. You get into the cunning action. Quick thinking agility allow you to move and act quickly. You can make a bonus action on each of your turns in combat. This action can be used to take the dash, disengage, or hide action. We're familiar with that. Get your subclass at 3rd, which is either Thief or Enforcer. I built the Enforcer for the other one. It's like a thug, I guess is how I'd explain it. Enforcer, like they get it done. Your improvement, uncanny dodge. We all know what this is. When an attacker you can see hits you with an attack, you can use your reaction to half the attack's damage against you. Period. Roll with it, baby. And then you got your two special pieces. So subclasses in the Enforcer, they are violent. They're good at bounty hunting, assassins, mercenaries, rogues. They get the ambush feature at 3rd level, which is killer. During the first round of combat, you have advantage on the first attack roll you make against any creature involved in the combat. Additionally, when you make a successful attack roll against a creature with the surprised condition, that attack is automatically considered a crit. You know, those conversations that you're having with somebody that you're really just trying to get close enough to stick that knife between the ribs? This is the class for you. Cold-blooded, once per turn, when you reduce a creature's hit points to 0 within a weapon attack, you can use the same weapon to immediately make an attack against a different creature you can see within your weapon's range. You can't add sneak attack damage to this additional attack, even if the circumstances would allow, but you could sneak attack, ambush, drop a person, and if their guard's next to you and you have a hand crossbow or a throwing weapon or they're within range, you can make another attack, stab, shoot, or maim them. So you can stab one, shoot a poison crossbow bolt at the other person if you drop that person to 0 hit points. Love it. And then again, like all of them, you get an expanded talent list. Expanded talent lists are cool. You can now pick up martial or technical talents. And you'll see these throughout all of your subclasses. Thief is that thiefiness. You get fast hands. You're really good. You make dex sleight of hands checks or using thieves' tools, attempt to disarm a trap. All of it. Yeah, well, there ain't no great... You know what? You could have a great sword. You could punch with your first one, but you're not getting sneak attack. Greatsword doesn't need sneak attack. It's already dishing out a ton of damage everywhere. What do you need sneak attack with a greatsword for? I am not surprised when you're carrying a greatsword on you. I'm just saying, there's no surprise. I saw it on your back, Braveheart. So second story work is the next thing you get. Oh, I didn't even explain this. I'm sorry. Fast hands. What it does. Allows you to accomplish precision work more quickly. In addition to its standard uses, you can now use a bonus action granted by your cunning action to do any of the following things. So before it was that whole dash, disengage. You can now do a sleight of hand as a bonus action. You can walk through and pilfer and pick pockets. You can disarm traps faster, open locks, or you can use an object action. This makes you really quick. Second story work for them, pretty cool. You never met a wall you couldn't conquer, and scaling such obstacles has become second nature. You gain a climb speed equal to your base movement speed. If you already have a climb speed when you get this feature, increase it by 10 foot. So we're making sure we're not punishing you. For example, if you have Grove as part of your build, that already gives you a climb speed, this just increases it by 10, making you really quick moving around. That's the Rogue. So before we jump into the Wizard, like I said, it's gonna be a longer show today because we got a lot to go over. Does anyone have any questions on those first two classes? Did I skip something you really wanted to see? Is there any questions on Fighter? Sorry, 3 classes. Fighter, Cleric, or Rogue? Because the Wizard's a thick one, and I want to make sure we give it the extra time. Is there anything from those first 3 classes? I'm personally really happy with the Rogue and the Thief being able to pick things as a bonus action. I think that I love being able to call a weapon in my hand as a bonus action. I always remember Wolfgar from the old Drist series, obviously. And then I think for me and the Cleric, I love that it's not just undead anymore. I love that you now can handle fiends the same way you would handle undead. I mean, I always felt like a one-trick pony as a Cleric, like a med box. Got a jet for work, but thank you very much, Eric. I'll catch up with the rest of the VOD. No problem. Have a great one, bud. We will be here for a little bit longer. Enjoy working? Question mark? Hopefully your work is fun. Hope your work is fun. All right, well, let's dive into the Wizard. So we built a Wizard for our live actual plays where you guys play. Everyone on the audience plays them, and we built a Kobold Wizard. So the Wizard's pretty awesome. Same thing. There are some big points in here, okay, with Wizards, and people were a little questiony on these things. So let's talk about it. The first and most important thing that everyone was up in arms about are these things right here. What do you mean I don't get armor or weapon proficiencies? Well, first off, you're a Wizard. Second, you have spells. Third, you can. You just use talents to pick them up. Or maybe your lineage or something give it to you. But you don't start with them because you are a wizard. Wizard. Yes, Myth, exactly. Quick build for them. D6 hit points, right? Choose your skills. Enter wisdom is your saves. Your 5 levels. Spellcasting, arcane recovery, which is dope. Magic sense, best feature in the class. Wizard subclass improvement. Then you get rote learning, which is super cool. Super cool. There are 2 different subclasses in here. One of them is all based around cantrips. The other one's about fighting with your magic in battle, making you a total just moving, fire shielded, armored, spell casting, just monstrosity. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And change this music up. So there's a lot of things in this, but let's kind of dive through. Obviously, you get your cantrips, you get your rituals, you get first, second, and third ring by 5th level. And casting spells is a little different in Tales of the Valiant. We definitely changed it up some. Cantrips, first level, 3 cantrips from the Arcane Circle spell list. You'll notice that we say Arcane Circle. Circles are your things that are like arcane, divine, and so on. It's the circles of magic, kind of like a block of spells that are set for your style of casting. There are ways to break that and get other spells from things, but at its core. Once you get those 3 cantrips, they're known as cantrips known column with a wizard progression table, right here. Your spell book. Your spell book, we all love spell books. At first level, your spell book contains 6 first ring arcane spells of your choice. Your spell book is a repository of the spells you know, except for your cantrips, which are simple and well rehearsed, and you always have them. Preparing and casting spells. This is a little different, everyone. You must prepare a spell in advance before you can cast it. Wizards may prepare any spell from their spell book that they have slots for. Check the wizard progression table to see which rings you have slots for at your level. Up here, if we scroll, for example, first level, you have 2 first ring. This is your progression stuff. To prepare spells, choose a number of spells from your spell book equal to your int modifier plus your wizard level. You have a 4, your first level, you get 5. 5 spells that you can prep. 5 spells. That's how you pick your spells you can prep. Different, right? To cast a prepared spell, you must have a slot of that spell's ring or higher. You regain all used spell slots when you finish a long rest. So, you're memorizing the spells you have, but you're using almost like a pool of spell points or spell slots to cast those spells. Meaning you can recast spells. It's got a little bit of a sorcerer feel, which makes me wonder, what is sorcerer going to be like? Because I haven't seen sorcerer yet. I love this. I feel like as a wizard, it allows you to be flexible. It also makes it less intimidating for newer players or non-magic casting players to pick this up, because you go, okay, I got 6 spells for the day, and I can cast these spells as long as I have slots to cast them. Pretty simple, right? It also means if you want really powerful spells for the day and you want the first level spells, you can take second level ones, or so on and so on. They have an example here for you to read through. I highly recommend it. It is different. A lot of people assume the spell casting is the same. It is not. You use int whenever your spell refers to your spell casting ability. So your int scores everything. 8 plus proficiency bonus plus intelligence modifier is your DC. Proficiency bonus, but your int modifier is your spell attack roll for spells you have to roll. Ritual casting. I love ritual casting. It's the best carryover from 4th edition. There's only a few things from 4th edition, I think, that were really good. Passive skills, your ritual casting, and I honestly do miss the idea of minions. I think minions made really exciting combats. I still use them, as a matter of fact. Oh, and skill challenges. I really enjoy skill challenges, and we've seen those get carried to newer systems. So ritual casting. As a wizard, you can cast long-form type spell called Ritual. You do not need to prepare ritual spells, and they do not use spell slots. At first level, you choose 1 ritual from the Arcane Circle ritual list. You choose more arcane rituals to learn at higher levels, as shown in the rituals known column. So they're the long-term casting things for you to take time to cast. You cast it, and you're good to go. Spell casting focus. You can use an arcane focus are tools as a spell casting focus for your spells. You can how to learn new spells at higher ranks, which it takes to do. Arcane recovery, everybody. This is awesome. Running out of spells as a wizard sucks. Sucks. You blow them all on the first thing, especially if you're the battle mage. You blow all your spells and you're like, well, I am tapped, everybody. It's time to take a long rest. I'm going to be napping here in the corner. Continue on with your hit point batteries. In this case, you can get some of those spells back. When you take it, you take a rest, a short rest, and you can recover spell slots of combined rings equal to or less than half your wizard level. So first level, you get a first level ring back. Allows you to take a spell back that you may need. Fourth level, you get up to 2. So you get some of your casting back when you take your breather, right? Pretty cool. I like this a lot, actually. But this here, no more memorizing detect magic, everybody. It is just included in the class. You just get proficiency bonus +1 amount of detect magics a day. Why was this not a thing? Why did I have to memorize a detect magic spell? Why was this not a thing all of 5th edition? Thank you to whoever in the Warrens made this. If it was Celeste or one of our other designers, thank you. You just gave them detect magic because they should just have it. They're a wizard, Harry. We got your wizard subclasses, your improvements, your rote learning. This is cool. If you haven't seen this, I think this is a nice addition to 5th level. Your continued practice of the arcane has honed your mind, allowing you to fix a limited reservoir of spells in your mind. Choose one first ring arcane circle spell in your spellbook. You always have it prepared, and it doesn't count against the number of spells you can prepare. So it's just a spell, like your cantrips, you always have memorized. Casting a spell learned by rote magic uses a spell slot as normal. You just have an extra spell. It's kind of like your signature, is how I always saw it. It's your signature spell. Then we got our 2 subclasses. Battle mages. I'm going to summarize this real easy. Do you like casting magic? Do you wish when you casted magic you were also protected? Are you a wizard that casts spells every round of the game? Well, Battle Mage is for you. With its ability to do a spell ward that gives you an armor bonus as long as you continue casting first ring or higher spells every single round. That's right, you just get an armor bonus for being a wizard. This allows you to be in combat and throw down with the best of them. This is an amazing subclass if you want to be that Battle Mage. I love this piece. If you haven't looked at it, it's super cool, right? Pretty fun. Tactical caster, you get some new bonuses in here as well. When you cast a spell that causes damage, you can choose yourself and any number of allies you see to be immune to the damage caused by the spell. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all uses of it when you finish a long rest. So that fireball you threw in the middle of the crowd, boom, you can just make sure you shape it and not hit people as the battle caster. Awesome. We know players always try to do this. If it's something they love to do, tell them to play Battlecaster. Cantrip Adept is my personal favorite. I love cantrips. I think they're super cool. And this one you get Arcane Alacrity and Cantrip Polymath. This allows you to cast multiple spells in a turn because you can do some really cool cantripy bonus action things. And then Polymath is super cool. You can learn cantrips from any source, not just the arcane circle. So you can pick up some divinity. For example, our Kobold wizard we made, Eldritch Blast. Because why not? Right? Why not give him that? So the wizards are much more flexible. You pick this first. You pick your class because it tells you what stats you need. And then we get into our lineage. We've changed up. We changed up the idea of race, and we made it into lineage to pick your first part. This is the stuff you're kind of familiar with in lineage. This is going to be your beastkin, which is like an animal-like creature, and the traits that you get from that when you pick it. And I want to remind you, if you pick a beastkin, it's pretty cool. You actually get to pick their natural adaptation, like the thing that they have. And they kind of cover a group of different things. Expect more in the future. Dwarf, we all know what dwarf is. It's super awesome. I'm really happy with the dwarf. Hey, for those who were crying that they shouldn't be slow, don't worry. We gave them the 30-foot speed. You have your 30-foot speed. None of that. Dwarves are slower than the rest of your party. They're just as good as everybody else, okay? So you don't have to worry about it anymore. We did change night vision back to dark vision for people because some people weren't liking the night vision. We changed it back. commonality. Elf, obviously. Human. And then if you downloaded the small folk, that means you also will have the option of playing your small folk, your kobolds, and then your gnome and halflings, which are small folk. And that also has some new heritage under them as well. But this core one is just those. We're only play testing those. But if you're playing at home, don't worry, that PDF's out there. You can go get it over on TOV right now. And the cottage heritage is amazing if you want to be a cook. So you got your heritage here. Heritage is more of a representation of upbringing and culture of a character instead of being the lineage, which is what they are. They're elf, they're a dwarf, they're a beastkin. This is the upbringing. So this allows you to really flex and make the 5e race you always wanted by using heritage and lineage to really make your things that you want. You want to be a dwarf that was in the forest their entire life and knows how to climb trees like Tarzan? Pick Grove. That gives you a climb speed. In these, you're going to see the heritage options of Cloud Heritage, which is super cool. They give you an idea of who should have that, but anyone can. Cosmopolitan, if you want to be that city-based person with street smarts, worldly wisdom, and languages. Your Fireforge Heritage, which is what we made our wizard based around, is good at crafting. You use it to build like elemental friends. You're friends with them. You can speak their languages. You can reforge things. Really good if you want to be that crafter. I agree, Baccarus. We've seen other people do it, and I think to us, it's a foundational piece. Those, again, foundation stones of when you build your character, what's the foundation you build on? In the old days, it was your race. It was your class. It was your background. And then there's rounds, ideals, and flaws that didn't do anything, unfortunately. They could have done more with it, but they didn't. So this is our version of what we're saying. Cool. Your lineage and your heritage and your class build a lot of stuff for you. Your talents flesh it out and let you make more. Your archetypes allow you to be what you want as that class, and so on. So nomadic heritage, awesome, by the way. Resilient is super cool. Advantage on checks and saves made to resist debilitating weather effects. Your traveler, your proficiency in the survival skill. This lets you have survival. There's a class that may not normally have survival. Super cool. Grove heritage. By far one of the favorite by people because you get Canopy Walker. You have a climb speed equal to your walk speed as a starting character. And then if you take that thief archetype, right, for rogue, you're getting a +10 on top of that. Like, you could be a really cool Robin Hood, B&E style Robin Hood using the thief thing, which is a fantastic way to do it. Then we have our stone heritage as well. Obviously dwarf. This guy looks like he's building the Infinity Gauntlet. Like, bro, what are you doing with yourself? Are you building the Infinity Gauntlet? Should we be worried? A guy is building an Infinity Gauntlet. Well, note to self. Let's hold on a minute here. I would like to build a dwarf, stone, Infinity Gauntlet. I have an idea. Works for Thanos. Yeah, exactly. It works for Thanos. So we have that. And then afterwards, we have our Slayer heritage. Dwarfos, the Slayer. Our Slayer heritage, which is the idea of being the Slayer in a community that hunts down the bad things that happen, ferocity, their trackers, and so on. And then you have your Wildlands heritage, which is pretty cool. Wildland heritage, your characters were raised with the values and traditions of the wildland communities. This gives you the idea of playing that barbarian without being the barbarian class, sort of. They have beast affinity, they have shepherd's gift, and languages. And we didn't get rid of backgrounds, we kept them, we just kind of elevated them. I hate that word, but I'm gonna use it. We elevated the backgrounds a little bit. They give you a little bit more because we've added talents into these things. And these talents are awesome. If you've not looked through them, they are the puzzle piece that was missing from 5e to me. And they're now just built into your character's progression. So, backgrounds. We have a lot of them. The elements of a background. Skill proficiencies, additional proficiencies are languages too. The equipment that you get from it, right? On top of that, you get talent and adventuring motivation. That is our replacement for your... What am I looking for? Replacement for your bonds, ideals, and flaws. That is your adventuring thing is like, why are you out doing this? What's your motivation? I also see adventures probably having adventuring motivation. We've seen that with other companies through the time frame, like how you tie everyone together for the adventure or AP that you're playing. Then we also said, look, if you don't want these, and these aren't good enough for you, or you have something special for your home campaign, this is how you build a background. We literally gave you a way to build your background, right? Super easy. So let's look through them. Adherent, you're devoted yourself to furthering a singular focus in your life, be it faith, belief, or cause. In service of a god, a priest may ask you to do daily prayers. With these, you get your skill proficiencies that you get to pick here, additional proficiencies, your equipment, prayer book, ceremonial dagger, a reliquary, a fragment of something. Like, this is pretty cool. But the talent, as an adherent, you're devoted yourself to an array of highly specific tasks and teachings known only to your order. Each which commands mental and emotional precision. Choose a talent from the following list so that you can take field medic, mental fortitude, or ritualist. Those are your talents you can pick. Your adventuring motivation, obviously roll or pick. You have your outcast, your petty criminal, your victim, kind of pooling these together. You get some really good skills out of this as well that fit the outcast. I'm saying that because some backgrounds didn't get skills that made sense in 5e. Additional proficiencies, disguise kit, poisoner's kit, thieves tools, right? You get a dark cloak and a set of dark common clothes, a silver coin given you by a stranger, and a pouch containing 10 gold. This is kind of a cool tie-in. Who knows what it's for? Talent, again, you can take aware, hand-to-hand, touch of luck. That's street brawler. Your venturing motivation, scholar, which is your smart one. Super cool here. You get your scholar stuff. Again, you get your equipment, which is like bottle of ink, quill, small knife. But talents are super cool. You get polyglot, school specialization, and trade skill. These are the three things you can pick as someone who is a scholar. And then I think last is soldier. This is all-encompassing. It could be military. It could be someone who defends a community, whatever it may be for that. Skills, gain proficiencies in things that are like water vehicles or land vehicles. Super important. I would like to see horses be under land vehicle, personally. But I guess that's probably gonna be your wagons and stuff. I think that soldiers should have the ability to be trained in horse stuff. So they gave them animal handling, which is super cool. You get a bunch of symbols. You get a letter, a badge, or something identifying who you are. Talents for them: combat casting, because you could be a soldier that's a wizard or a caster. Combat conditioning or field medic. These are your breakdowns for those, and we get into talents after that. Everybody, we are only 34 pages into 177 pages. 177 pages. This is a game. The middle does go fast, but this is a full game. So, I want to pick out some of my favorites out of here, personally. Magical talents, these are all different ones. Combat casting, elemental savant, all that's normal. Mental fortitude is probably one of the biggest ones, I think, that people pick because it's a really easy one to understand. Through rigorous mental exercise, you have fortified yourself against mind-altering effects. You gain the following benefits. Once per long rest, when you fail an int, wisdom, or charisma save, you can choose to re-roll the save and take the new result. So, no, you did not tell me what to do. No, you're not commanding me. Maybe originally you were a forced labor worker, whatever it may be, and because you have mental fortitude, maybe you're a wizard who was really good at resisting charms. Maybe you're an elf and you really want to double down on this. If an ongoing effect causes you to be charmed, frightened, stunned due to failing a save, you can repeat the save at the end of each of your turns, ending the condition on success, even if the effect would not allow you to. This is that chance that one person in your party where everyone's under a mind effect breaks free. Super awesome. Really good for vampire hunters. You know what I'm saying? You hear me? Vampire hunters, mental fortitude. It's a no question asked. You just grab it. You have to have it. You have to. Ritualist is another one of my favorite. This is pretty cool. And then again, this falls under magical talent. So if any of your things give you the ability to take a magical talent, you can pick from here. You study magic. Your study of magic unlock the mysteries of ritual spells. When you gain this ability, you gain a ritual book which contains rituals you know. To cast a ritual spell, you must have the ritual book in hand. Choose a circle of magic, arcane or divine. You must choose your rituals from that circle. Now you can get arcane casting for rituals. Frog Princess, is that the TOV equivalent to Dragonborn? No, it is not, KY. That's a good question. This has come up all over the place. So, let me clarify Dragonkin. Dragonkin is in the Small Folk update, which is the one where you can play a Kobold. And really, Dragonkin is like our Swollbald for players. You're medium size instead of being small. You're strong. You're sturdy. Dragonborn won't be in the core TOV, but it is something we are looking at adding in the future. And to be honest, I'm sure you'll see someone converted along the time frame, but Dragonkin are our Swollbalds. That's the best way to define it for you. No problem. It's why I'm here. It's why I'm here. I'm here to answer questions, right? Ritualist, get your spells. School specialization, increase DCs, increase damage, increase bonuses to hit. Martial talents, these are really cool. Armored combatant, artillerist if you want to be a shooter, hand-to-hand combat. We saw that in the Outcast, I think is what it was. You're good at hand-to-hand. You do bludgeoning damage. Physical fortitude, physical prowess, ranged weapon mastery. You can pick up martial to be good at ranged weapons. By the way, ranged weapon mastery, if you are a ranged fighter or a ranged anything, this is something you want. You master the art of ranged weapons. You gain the following. You don't have disadvantage on ranged weapon attacks made at long range. Nope, you're skilled. You understand. You know distance. You don't have disadvantage on ranged attack rolls made while hostile creatures in 5 foot of you. We have all seen the Graviton Monk. We've all seen Equilibrium, right? Everybody wants to have themselves a crossbow monk shooting at close range. That 5 foot, there's no disadvantage. Your ranged attacks, your ranged weapon attacks ignore 1/2 and 3/4 cover because you're just that good. You're a professional shooter. You know what you're doing. You're an artillerist. You know how to shoot weapons. Pretty cool. 2-weapon mastery for all our 2-weapon fans. And then technical talents are cool. They're not like technology. There are things that are like outside of the other talent pools. Aware is one of the coolest talents in here. Our fighter had this, and it did save them because they were rolling poorly every time. You have exceptional situational awareness. When you select this talent, you gain the following benefits. When you roll initiative, you can treat a D20 roll of 9 or lower as if you rolled a 10. You are always in the middle of the pack or higher from your roll. No more fighter going last and going, ugh, or if you're a wizard who wants to go first to set things up, you don't have to be last in the pack because you had a bad roll. As long as you are conscious, you can't be affected by surprise condition. No more surprises. And then hidden targets don't have advantage on attack rolls against you. It's like Spidey senses. Super fun. Dungeon runner, field medic, polyglot, which is pretty cool. You're really good with languages. I use languages a lot in my games. I don't know about the rest of you. I love languages in my game. Trade skills is cool. This is proficiency in 1 or more trade skills. Field medic is very strong. You are right. It's a very strong one. I look it over so that my player, Kelly, doesn't see it because she will take it in every game. If y'all know who Kelly is, you know why I say it. You'll know. Field medic. But it is very strong. You're not wrong. It is a very strong thing. And then touch of luck. Remember how we said we had the luck mechanic in this game? Well, the touch of luck is pretty cool. Fortune favor always makes it way back to you. You gain the following benefits. When you would gain 1 luck point as a result of failing an attack roll or a save, you get 2. Right? If you have 5 luck points and would gain a 6th point of luck, instead of rolling a d4, you roll a d4 plus 1. Because remember, if you don't spend your luck points and you get another one, it resets to something lower. Kind of fun. I really do like this. I think it's a really cool concept. Then we get into playing the game. Chapter 2 is a fatty. This is a big area. This is something that I would recommend you dive through. I'm not going to go through all of this because this is the whole concept. This is the core meat of like what our playing the game is. From ability modifiers to proficiency bonus to determining success or failure. Also determining DCs. This is probably a pretty important one here. most of the time, the rules tell the GM what a DC should be. For example, a PC must get a check result of 19 or higher to successfully attack a creature with an AC 19. We're all familiar with this. We know how AC works, right? But there are times when sometimes the DCs aren't provided. You know what I mean? If you change, we're going to get to armor. High chances of success, 10 or less. Moderate chance of success, 15. Low chance of success, 20. Almost no chance of success, 25 or higher. We talk about advantage and disadvantage. Sometimes special circumstances allow you to roll with advantage or disadvantage. Rolling with advantage means you roll 2d20, use the higher of the two numbers. Rolling disadvantage means you roll 2d20, take the lower of the numbers. We give an example. If two or more favorable situations grant advantage, you still only roll one additional. Same goes for disadvantage. You only ever roll 2d20s. There's never more than that. We're all familiar with that stuff. Just clarity. If circumstance causes the roll to have both advantage and disadvantage, they wash each other out. Clarity again. When you have advantage or disadvantage, and a rule lets you re-roll the d20, you can re-roll only one of the dice. One. So when you get a re-roll, you don't re-roll advantage and disadvantage. You re-roll one of the dice. So if it's advantage and one was low and you want for that 20, roll it again. If it's disadvantage and one was high and the other one was low, you re-roll it, hoping to bring it up to par. Just for clarity. I know a lot of players and GMs think it's both. In this game, it is not. Usually gain advantage or disadvantage through the use of special abilities, actions, spells. You can also use luck points to grant advantage. And then we dive into the rest of the stuff. Like when advantage, disadvantage should be applied. Luck points. This is new to the game. I do want to talk about luck. Luck is our replacement for inspiration. Inspiration was something that you were granted randomly, or if you used a bond, ideal, or flaw, you could get an inspiration. You could only ever carry one. It allowed you to do a couple of things. We have replaced this with the luck point system. Luck is a 1-for-1 bonus to add to any d20 roll you make. For example, if you have 4 luck points and you roll 13, you can spend 2 luck points to add 15, right? Bump it up to 15. When you have 2 luck points to use later, you can't use luck points to offset the effects of rolling a natural 1 or creating the effects of a natural 20. They'll still have to be natural rolls at the end of the scale, 1 or 20. No one is that lucky. Alternatively, immediately after you make an ability check, attack roll, or save, you can spend 3 luck points to re-roll a single d20 on a roll. People are like, tracking this is going to be hard. Just try it. Just give it a chance. I promise it isn't that hard. It's on the sheet. You can put tokens in front of you, but what it does allow you to do is, like, DCs as a player on average are 15, right? DCs on monsters AC once you've hit it. If you roll below it, you can spend those 3 points to make sure you still hit. Or if you roll really bad, you can blow 3 and roll again. All right? Here's how you gain them. If you haven't been along for TOV so far, we've been working through these and making luck points as fun as we can. Once per turn, when you fail an attack roll or a save, you gain a luck point. The GM can award a luck point to a character as a reward for coming up with a clever idea, excellent role play, or trying something interesting but not optimal, right? The GM can award luck points to a party for surviving a difficult encounter or achieving story goals in addition to XP. I love this. I gave this during Valiant Soil a lot. I found that being able to give out luck points to people was a lot of fun. Failed saves and things like that. I'm excited to see if we're going to see luck change up in the future. I would love social abilities to gain luck. I think that would be really cool. Talents that give you luck for persuading and talking to people. I think that'd be really fun too. But for mine, I did it, and I even gave them an object that once per long rest, when they wake up, they can touch this box of sadness, and everybody got a luck point through somebody else's sadness. Because I was running a horror-based set piece, but they got a luck point. This is a really fun way for players to really do what they feel they need to be successful at, and they can decide those moments, but not all the time. And it's better than just stacking more advantage and disadvantage into the game. I love it. I'm a big fan. A player can only have a maximum of 5 luck points at one time, unless you have that talent. If you have 5 luck points and you gain a 6, you immediately roll a d4 and it resets to that. Kind of like a, spend it or lose it. All right? We know our checks. 3 types of checks: attack rolls, saves, ability checks. That's your 3 checks in the game. We talk about contests and how you do contests against each other, rolling against each other. We talk about passive checks. This is pretty cool to me. Notice we just call them passive checks. We don't just say passive perception. I myself have a house rule for passive stealth. As long as you're not within, I think it's 30 or 60 foot of a character, we just compare passive stealth and passive perception. Once you get within that range of 60, then we roll. The reason I do it is it allows rogues to be stealthy, and we're not making a check every time they've moved. We're not turning what should be broad spanning scenarios into grid-based scenarios. We've taken the passive check and kind of rolled it up one more. This kind of ability check can represent an average result for a task done repeatedly, such as searching for secret doors over and over again. Or a GM can use it to secretly determine whether a PC succeeds at something a player doesn't know they want to try, like noticing a hidden monster, or maybe knowledge. I would use it for knowledge checks all the time. If you have a really knowledgeable person and it's about an owlbear and they've encountered them in the past, maybe you can give them that information without them having to roll. 10 plus all modifiers that would normally apply to the check. The character has advantage, add 5, disadvantage, subtract 5. Basically, an advantage and disadvantage is worth about 5 points, just so you know what that is. So for example, a first level character with a wisdom of +2 ability modifier and proficiency in perception skill would have a passive perception score of 14. Okay? Pretty cool. You may have noticed there's some PC wisdom parts in here. The more you spend luck, the more incentivized you are to get more. Talk about working together. We talk about doing group checks. I love this in the game. I think this is something a lot of GMs have been using for a long time, especially if you were a part of 4th edition or you've read, third-party material. A lot of people do group checks. That is in here. We talk about relevant proficiencies like tool proficiencies and how they function. And then we go into ability score modifiers. What ability scores are, what they do, what they cover, whole 9 yards, how to use them. Ta-da! We're all used to that. You are right. This middle section does go a little quicker. We have skill descriptions. We do break down skill descriptions and how the skills work as well. We scroll through this. We're all familiar with skills. We didn't add any new skills because we wanted it to be parallel to 5e. We do, though, talk about ability modifiers and associated skills. Most of the time, the skill is paired with a specific ability. That's why certain ability appears in parentheses after each skill on the character sheet. For example, athletic skill is almost always used as a strength ability check. So listed next to athletics is strength on the character sheet. However, you're not required to pair only one skill with one ability. Some situations might call for something different as an approach. To represent these cases, the GM may ask for a check using an unusual combination of ability and skill. Or a player might ask for a different combination. For example, if you have to swim from offshore island to the mainland, the GM might say, I need a con athletics check because it's about the duration. It's about your endurance, your ability to survive a long distance swim. This is something I think a lot of players and GMs have done over the years, but we are giving you that in the rules. I don't want to say permission, but it's okay to change it up. You don't have to be 1 for 1. This isn't competitive. Do what works in the situation. So this is an important piece. We gave a couple examples on that. These little ability modifiers and call-out boxes are awesome. Break through all the skills. We do a breakdown on hiding, right? Perception score, passive stuff. We do a good breakdown on this. This is a really good box on 43 to read over. And then we talk about adventuring. This is important. This is about the passage of time. Round is 6 seconds, right? And how to scale that to minutes to hours to days for long journeys. And that you don't stay in combat rounds all the time. This is really big for new players, but I also think for a lot of us that have been stuck in tactical grid combat, we tend to fall between those minutes and hours scale, or minutes and round scale too much, do you have to come back and pull way back into like scales of hour when you're in wilderness, or days when it's long journeys, where instead of your players going, I can do this check 1,000 times, it should be about what they want to do and to set the pacing. Which brings us to movement and travel, how we do it, how speed works in travel pace. We talk about your force march, right? We talk about your mounts and vehicles, and then we give you a nice table for minute, hour, day, and the effect of doing it, and what you get when you're doing it. I do love that fast pace, you have a -5 to perception scores because you're moving quick. This is smart. For anyone who's done like cross-country stuff and you're driving in a car really quickly, you do miss stuff, right? Especially if you're the one doing the driving. Talking about difficult terrain. Got some new art pieces in here, which is cool. We have special types of movement: climbing, swimming, crawling, jumping. We break these down. Your long jump, your high jump. And as I'm doing this, if there's something you want me to dive into deeper, just let me know and I'll roll back to it. Falling damage. Yes, baby. Falling damage. We obviously have a maximum of 20d6. That's the way it's been done in 5e. We've kept that for hazards. Suffocating. Suffocating is huge in games. There's a lot of rules that bring this into play. It's very dangerous. It's based around con. Con doesn't have a lot of skills involved, so hit points are really it and saves. So a lot of people don't have a high con score. We talk about vision and light and how it functions. This is also very important, and a lot of people forget things. We want to make sure we were clear and concise on it to help you out as you're playtesting. This is something I think there might even be questions in the survey on the light piece, if I remember correctly. But we talk about lightly obscured and heavy obscured, what bright light does, dim light, and darkness, and what that entails. Your different forms of vision, your darkness, your keen sense, and your true sight, food and water. Interacting with objects, this is very important. How you interact with objects, the actions that it takes, if it is in combat or out of combat, very important. Then we gave you statistics for objects, everybody. We have statistics for objects, armor class for objects, rough hit points for objects, and then we have interacting with objects in general around you. Here are a few examples of sorts of things you can do during your move or your action. Draw, sheath a sword, open, close a door, get a potion from your pack, pick up a dropped weapon. These are things you can just do included with it instead of arguing. I really like the food and water rules as well. I think they're really cool. You know, let's go back to them. It's very short. Characters don't eat or drink or suffer the effects of exhaustion. See the appendix. Exhaustion caused by a lack of food or water can't be removed until the character eats and drinks the full amount required. Sorry, Lycans, you're gonna have a hard day. A character needs 1 pound of food per day. You can make food last longer by eating half rations. Eating half rations in a day counts as half a day's worth of food. A character can go without food for a number of days equal to 3 plus their con. 3 plus their con. Beyond that, a character automatically suffers 1 level of exhaustion for each day after. 1 normal day of eating resets the count of days without food to 0. Water, 1 gallon of water is required per day or 2 gallons per day if the weather is hot. Character who drinks only half that much water must succeed in a DC 15 con save or suffer 1 level of exhaustion. Very simple rules, goes right on the GM screen. Can we get cooking rules? Do we need some backpack chicken? Cooking rules. I wonder if we're gonna get cooking rules. That's a really good question. I'll bring that back. I love cooking as well, so especially with the new small folk stuff, because they have the cottage heritage there. And that's awesome. Frog, if you haven't looked through the cottage heritage, if you weren't here for that, go check it out. There's something in there for the heritage of cooking and giving hit points when you do a rest and feed everybody. Like temporary hit points. It's pretty cool. So, we go through all that and then we get into combat. This is the thing everyone's here for. Well, usually. Combat is very important to tabletop games. We have to have rules for it and how it works. To arbitrate this is where most arguments happen. Yeah, crafting rules as well. I agree. I think crafting rules would be nice as well. Like, I won't say anything, but I agree. Objects and damage types, damage thresholds from the last page, but we get into the idea of resting, a short rest, a long rest. We're familiar with this, and then combat. Surprise rounds, how they work. I just drew a mustache. Your surprise rounds. right? Pretty important. A lot of things that go on with surprise rounds, especially when you're a rogue or anything along those lines. Little Assassin's Creed. Would someone like to explain to me how this dwarf fit in here? He really balled up tight. We have initiative, your turn, your bonus actions, what you can do, your reactions, what you can do, other activities that you can do. We even gave you a step-by-step combat piece. Determine surprise, establish positions, roll initiative, take turns, begin the next round. Pretty clean. It's pretty clean. Works well. We didn't change a lot there. It works. We talk about movement and position, breaking up your move, moving between attacks, using different speeds, if you have different movement speeds, how difficult terrain comes into play, what being prone does, if you drop prone freely and what it does, moving around other creatures, your flying movement, if you have a fly spell or a creature that flies. And then we talk about creature size, a long, argued, and fought part of D&D 5e. We talk about the different sizes, the spaces they take up, how you squeeze, actions in combat, attack, cast spell, dash, disengage, dodge, helping action. This is a big action. I don't know how many people use this in 5e. My parties always use it. When you take the help action, you lend aid to another creature to complete a task. Creature gains advantage on their next ability check it makes to perform a task you're helping with, provided that it makes the check before the start of its next turn. You can also help action and aid a friendly creature attacking a target within 5 feet of you. You feint, you distract, you do whatever you need to do. Hide action. We break down ready a little bit more for you. What searching is, what using an object is. This is one I think that gets argued a lot at tables. Also, I want to point out that this guy is smart in using a funnel to pour his acid in to melt the lock. Just saying. Smart rogue. Established rogue. And then we have making an attack and how making an attack works. These are all things I think we expected, right? This isn't anything new. Rolling a 1 or a 20, critical hit, critical failures, kind of stuff. Oh, actually, I take that back. Only critical hit. I don't see critical failures in here. Because you get luck, that fail forward. The luck was also to help drive a failed forward mentality. Your melee attacks, your opportune attack, grappling, damage and healing. Here we go. This has been cleaned up. Grappling is cleaned up. There's no more flow chart. There's no more flow chart. Grappling is cleaned up. 2-up and fighting, cleaned up as well. This is important. Read over this. Escape and grapple, how they work, what you can do with it. And then contest and combat. You against powerful foes. This is challenging, representing by contest. This section includes the most common contests that require an action in combat. Grappling, shoving a creature are the two most common. We have shove up here. And then we break down damage and healing. So, the big area out of here I want to point out that has changed. There are some changes in damage types. When you go through here, these are pretty much the same, right? Psychic, radiant, slashing, thunder, void. This is new. Void damage is a new damage type. Something Kobold Press has been using for a long time, so we brought it to TOV. Then we have damage resistance and vulnerability. Healing, dropping to 0 hit points. You drop to 0 hit points. No, we didn't change it. We did not yet. I would say, I think we were waiting, and this is my personal opinion. I think we were waiting for the alpha to drop to get a large amount of people playtesting it, and then to come back to the board on death saves. I personally have a house rule where I do wounds. If you go down, you take a wound, and one of your death save boxes are marked. And now when you go down again, you're making 2 instead of 3. If you drop a second time, so on and so on until you get a long rest. That's how I handle death saves. Just because you're not popping up and down. And then if you want to be gritty, I add wounds. Anytime you get a wound, you also get a physical looking wound, scar, lose a finger, whatever it may be. Magical rules to heal it if you want magic to heal it. Otherwise, it's just permanent if you want a little more Game of Thrones feel. But for core, for high fantasy, which is what TOV is, they want you to feel like a high fantasy group. But again, I would say ask for some optional rules when you fill out the survey. This is a really good chance for you to put your 2 cents in on what you want out of this. Know what I mean? Stabilizing a creature, how it works, monsters and death, and then obviously knocking a creature out, and then mounted combat. Mounted combat is a big piece in games. I think it is overlooked way too often. I'm gonna pour myself some more coffee here. Way too often. I think mounted combat is something that GMs are afraid to run, or don't think about enough. Like it doesn't deserve its own category. And I think mounted and dismounting, you know, there's arguments about it, how it works. We clear this up here a little bit, and we go into mounted combat a little bit more. I love mounted combat. When I'm playing a paladin or a fighter, there's something awesome about having a lance and charging someone, or a spear. It just reminds me of the old movies I watch, or still watch. So we break this down a little bit, and then the effects of moving your mount against its will, what you got to do for that kind of stuff. Get you this nice knighted cavalier looking thing. We have rules on controlling your mount, how to handle underwater combat, and then we get into the thing that everybody, I think, has been waiting for. If you have wondered why we did not include the equipment and the magical items, we changed a lot. There's a lot of changes in here. This is one of those ones you're going to need to dig through, everybody. If you did not like the 5e equipment list, or you did not like the fact that magical items didn't have price, or you thought that weapons should do more than what they did, guess what? We got your back. We're here. We're here for you. So armor. Someone asked about armor earlier. Wearing armor increases your armor class. It's still armor class based because we have to run parallel to the game. We talk about the different types of armor and proficiencies, which we all know, light, medium, and heavy. Things provide disadvantage, how long it takes to put armor on and take it off. We have a PC wisdom here when buying and selling equipment and treasure. GM has final market say, may not work in certain areas, but there's ways to buy and sell. What's up, Mandy? Your light armor. Boom. Here's your light armor. Good for dex-based builds. Medium armor. Protection. Light armor. A little bulkier. You'll notice we have over here your time to put those 2 things on. Don, 1 or 5. 1 or 1 to take off. Heavy armor. Really good for those tanky people. Right? But we also have PC wisdom here. Casting spells with somatic components requires at least 1 free hand. Unless you have a feature that allows you to work around this, such as combat caster talent, your spellcasting capabilities suffer while you hold both a weapon and a shield. But notice it doesn't say anything about casting in armor. Because you can. Just cast in armor. We have our properties, cumbersome, natural materials, and noisy. We're familiar with those. Getting in and out of them. And then weapons. Weapons are a little different in this game. Just a little bit. You're going to notice some damage changes. You're going to notice some different traits or properties to them. I think you're going to like them, because I know I do. We have weapon options in here, which is bash and disarm. Right? Right? Briefly disoriented, and you can cause disadvantage on the next attack roll with bash. With disarm, you can try to take a weapon away from somebody. We're all familiar with this. Improvised weapons. One of my favorite things in the game. I think you should always inspire your players to use objects around them. That is in here for you. It's pretty awesome. Characters proficient with a weapon can use a similar object as if it was that weapon and still add their proficiency bonus as normal. This makes players want to do things like use a table leg as a club, right? Super fun. Love that they added this. I love improvised weapons. All right, everybody, the big table. You're going to notice one very important thing right here. Right here. You'll notice that weapons have weapon options now. To give you a little more pizzazz to your weapon. To make weapons feel different, even if they have the same damage die. You have bash, pinning shot, hamstring. You have pull, trip, ricochet shots. You have a whole bunch of different weapon options, which means we're just going to make more in the future. You'll notice that some of the damages have increased to make them feel like more damaging things. Hit points are so big of pools, we have to have a way to be able to do good damage. We want it to feel like high fantasy. Some of the ranges might be a little different, but the weapon options are the big part. Big part. And you'll notice when we talk about weapon options, this is unique options for using weapons in ways other than dealing damage, giving different weapons different impacts on the battlefield as shown in the weapons table. A character can use a weapon option only if the character is wielding and proficient with the weapon. If an option requires a creature to make an ability check or save, the DC is 8, plus the attacker's proficiency bonus, plus the attacker's strength or dex. Attacker's choice. It's how quick you are, or is it you're powering through with it? Unless specifically noted, a weapon used to perform a weapon option has only the option listed effect and doesn't deal normal weapon damage. If a weapon option instructs a character to make an attack with the weapon, and the character can make multiple attacks with that attack action, the weapon option replaces only one of those actions. So you could hit, trip, and then hit with your multi-attack. Or if you're a rogue, right? Hear me out. And you have that ability from Enforcer where you hit somebody, downed them, and remember how you can immediately make a weapon attack with that weapon again. And let's just say you have a finesse weapon that does pinning shot. You could shoot the guy who's running away from combat and pin them so they can't get away. You see in the options, the stuff that opens up with this and having weapon options with multiple attack actions. And then you take it one step further. If you're a fighter with action surge and multi-attack, technically giving you 3 in a round, and you are, let's just say, the ability to call an arcane weapon to you because you've taken the ability to be the spell wielding style fighter, you could run into combat, punch somebody, one action. Bonus action, call your weapon. Maybe it has a trip or hamstring. You hamstring somebody with a hand axe, right? And with your last action, as that guy gets hamstrung, you throw it to hamstring somebody else. This just makes combat versatile and way more impactful and way less standing around. And not just, I hit, I do 10 points of damage. Like, really does something. I absolutely love these, and I hope we see more talents that flex these even further. So, your weapon tree, all your abilities. Ricochet shot is exactly what you think it is. It is literally shooting an object to like ricochet and hit somebody around a corner. Tripping people. You'll see there's weapon properties, your ammunition, your finesse, your heavy, your light, your loading, your range, your reach, your thrown, your two-handed, and your versatile. And somebody does say, where's my pike? We pared down the weapons, adventuring gear, and tools list to save on space for the alpha release. We expect everything in the SRD to be back in the book for the final release. If you're missing something in the meantime, check the SRD for it. The cost and weight will stay consistent. So if you want to use a pike and you don't have it, bring it over and just slap one of these weapon abilities on it. Problem solved. But don't worry, this is a 177-page playtest, 2 months to playtest this. We want to give you ample time. We just needed to save some space. But don't worry, the final version's going to happen. We have your adventuring gear. You notice they're broken down. They actually have descriptions of what they do. You'll see, too, we've added the equipment packs back in that we all know and love. Burglar, Diplomat, Dungeoneer, Entertainer, Explorer, Priest, and Scholar. All here. Pick your pack and go. Great for first level and starting stuff, right? Your cost and your gears, everything is here. Your weight, everything is here. Oh, did we talk about weight in here? Hold on a minute. There is something else I do want to talk about. Where is our section for weight? Is it in here? It might be in the beginning. We do have a breakdown for how weight works as well for players. We break all of them down. GM Wisdom, This is huge. If you have not looked at this piece, I highly recommend it. This is kind of a big piece here. Over the course of their adventures, PC might need to cut rope, slash through windows, kick down doors, and do all manner of destructive object interactions not neatly covered by existing rules. In most cases, assume that given enough time and the right tools, a PC can eventually destroy any destructible object. No need to make an ability check. Just let your player do it. Just give them the time. Option durability, represented as AC, and hit points only matter when time pressure is a factor. So in combat, something's chasing you, so on and so on. I think GMs make players roll too often, and this is us kind of telling you to step back, be wise. You don't always have to roll something. You know, if it's a belay chasing you, yeah, make them roll. Gotta. Your tools. These are all your tools we put in this. There's vehicles as well. Musical instruments, mounts and vehicles are added back in our versions of them. I highly recommend reading through this section. Services. All right, everybody. Services are important. Every time we go to town, players will ask or want to do something and pay. We've seen the services table before. We have brought it back. It is still here for you. We did not get rid of it. It's still here, right? Magical items and using magical items. Okay. This is a detailed section with one of my favorite pieces of art, by the way. This looks like an old He-Man character. Super villain He-Man character. I love it. Multiple items of the same kind. We talk about that. We talk about paired items. Items that come in pairs. Boots, bracers, things like that. Attunement. Some things require attunement. You got to remember, we are carrying 5e over and need to be a parallel. Attunement is still going to be a thing. Some magical items require a creature to form a bond with them before the magical properties can be used. This bond is called attunement. Certain items have prerequisites for attunement. Prerequisite is a class, a creature, something along those lines. To attunement, you must meet those to do so. An item can be attuned to only one creature, which we all kind of know from the other ones, right? Yep. You're with me. No more than a number of items equal to its proficiency bonus at any one time. So an item can be attuned to only one creature, and any creature can be attuned to no more than a number of items equal to its proficiency bonus at any time. So your proficiency bonus determines how well and how good you are at having magical items. It stops your first level person from having a ton of magical items out of the gate they have to be attuned to. Now, as a note from a GM who does professional GMing and storytelling, if you're running a high fantasy system or high magical system and you don't like this, just say it's 2 plus proficiency bonus. Very simple. Easy way to fix those problems if you want it to be a little more. That's it. That's all there is to it. An item ends and the creature no longer satisfies the prerequisites. If you take a prerequisite away, that means that weapon is no longer attuned to them. Some good GM-y thoughts there for everybody. If a paladin loses their paladin status, guess what? If they have an item and they pick up something and they ditch a class, guess what? If for some reason they get polymorphed into something else, guess what? Just want to point those things out for sneaky GMs out there. Activating an item and how it functions. Command words, spells, charges, fabled magical items. I love fabled magical items. They are my favorite thing to have in a game. Having an item that grows alongside a player causes attachment and makes them want to do more with that item. Instead of seeking out tons of new items, they're focused on the one thing that is with them, growing with them. I love fabled items. You've seen us use it in Kobold Press through countless books. And it's something I highly recommend using in your games as well. Properties and attunement. We talk about fabled items. Fabled magical item begins as a common magic item and is a small but useful property the item grants to any character that possesses it. This is a minor property and does not require attunement to use. You just get it for having it. Then to access any higher level properties, a PC must attune to the fabled item using standard attunement rules. And then as you do that, you can start growing and getting new things. I am always a GM scheming. I literally have a shirt that says secret, secret, secret for my shows. And there is a code in the shirt for secret, secret, secret that brings you to the voice chat that we do after our live shows so you can be a part of the secret planning. Like, yes, I am. I want it to be interesting for my players and for my audience. Always scheme. Always. Frank House dilemmas are real. If you're going to play a game with me at Gen Con, you will find that out. So to get higher level ones, there may be things you have to do, GM's discretion. Great idea. Great pricing and how to do it. Secret, secret, secret. You got it. It's important. I like it. I love Fable magical items. Love it. Well, guess what we brought back, everybody? We heard you. We agree with you. We think the magical items should have prices. They're a huge part of the economy of D&D, of 5e, of any tabletop game that you play. Magical items are an economy. Diablo had a marketplace for them. We understand. We hear you. We're with you. It's back, baby. It's back. It is back in a good way. I'm just going to put a big old, we're just going to do this. Hold on here. Let me see if I can draw this. I don't know, like this. There we go. Big old way, it's back. We are bringing magical items to the sale table. Important. You'll notice that we have the cost for rings for your cantrip through 9th. The cost, the rarity, how hard they fire to find. I do like rarity. I'm glad we kept that. Equivalent consumables as samples of what they might be as a consumable item. And then you'll see we have went down and we have done the pricing +1 through +3, right? +1, uncommon, rare, very rare, very rare, legendary. And then we give you samples of them between armor and weapons. We even give you this. Very important. Conversion pricing exceptions. Any magic item that allows flight, grants a flying mount, or grants flying speed. Any magic item that grants wishes. Any magic item that grants invisibility, conceals the character's presence. Any magical item that grants teleportation, allows access to a different plane of existence, or creates a pocket dimension large enough for at least one medium-sized creature. Any magic item that can create infinite resources like food or water. When converting items from 5e, consider pricing items that grant any of the following abilities as if they are one step above their listed rarity. Because they are game-changing, not breaking. They're not breaking. They are a game-changing thing. They change the scale of what your players are able to do. Pretty easy, right? Not crazy. Not crazy. We talk about pricing permanent magical items. We talk about pricing artifacts right here. Artifact pricing. It's back. Why shouldn't it be? We give you magical item descriptions, your ammunition of 1, 2, and 3, +1, 2, and 3, armor of +1, 2, and 3, and then we give you sample magical items. I will say that when I was making characters, I had access to some of these magical items in advance, and they are really cleaned up. They all have their prices now, what they are, what the rarity is. They're in a clean format. They all have a description, the rules. Everything you would expect is there. This is so much cleaner than it used to be in the normal OGL, especially in the SRD. I mean, SRD, you didn't even get descriptions of stuff for a lot of things. We're giving those to you. So, check all these out. I'm just going to scroll through them. One of my favorites, it's back, movable rod. Scrolling through some great new artwork. Super cool. Artwork overall is stunning in here. Mark and the art team crushed it. All the freelancers, really good. Obviously, this is just a bite-sized morsel of what there's going to be, but you can see everything that's here. We give you the ability to convert other items if you're playing your own game. And then we get into spell casting. All right, everybody. Spell casting is big. It's a big thing. Follow me, camera. Don't move away. Spell casting is big. We have 1st through 9th ring. Circles of magic are the identified circle, like Arcane, Divine, and you're going to see other versions come in as we bring in other magic casters, and they are basically a selection of spells curated for that circle. Okay? You've seen these in other companies producing magic. we're doing the same thing. Don't worry, your schools of magic are still here. We didn't get rid of schools of magic when we did this. They still exist. Your schools are all here, all the ones you know and love, still there. Still there. We talked about casting spells at higher levels. We removed them for the alpha release because we just needed to save space, but they will be there. Don't worry. They're going to be there. You can see your different style. We have a behind the curtain on ritual spells. We altered them. We clarified them. Just so you know what it is. Ritual spells have been altered from the way they appear in 5th edition to clarify how and when they should be used by placing spells with longer casting times into a separate category. We're emphasizing that ritual spells are not meant to be used in combat, encourage players to think of them as tools to aid exploration and social styles. Are we going to get styles? For what? Magic? Are you talking about like the stuff in Deep Magics? Is that what you're talking about, Frog Princess? I will say the same thing I say every time when there's an ask for an old product into the new product. We made all those things so they're compatible. You know what I mean? 5e is compatible. We obviously love Magic. Deep Magic's coming out soon. That's what I'll say. Wouldn't be hard to add them. Right? Maybe a blog post. Right? Known spells, prepared spells, cantrips, rituals, casting and armor. Because of the mental focus and precise gestures required for spell casting, you must be proficient in the armor you are wearing. That's all we ask. So you can still cast in full plate. Combining magical effects. This is super cool. The effects of different spells combined with the duration of those spells overlap. The effects of the same spell cast multiple times don't combine. However, instead, the most potent effect, such as the highest bonus with multiple casting, applies to the durations and overlap. So if you cast Mage Armor on the same target, target gains the spell benefit only once. They don't gain multiple AC bonuses. We're just clarifying for people trying to triple stack and do things. We talk about the elements of a spell and spell casting. We break them down really well. The different area effects for the spells really well. Your components, your VSM. Also, that should be a shirt. All my components are VSM. Duration, concentration, targets, and then your spell list. We are now at like the halfway point in the book here. We're not going to go through every spell, but someone did ask about slow. So we will see if slow is in here. I don't think it is because I think it's too high of a spell to be in this playtest. I think. It's a good question though. So you got your arcane spell circle. Boom. Here's everything for arcane spells. Here's your arcane ritual list. Here's your divine. Here's your divine ritual list. Pretty clean. We cleaned up spells, everybody. We love spells. We did Deep Magic 1 and 2. We've learned a lot from the process. We've had feedback from you over them. We've really kind of leveled up our spell casting game. You'll notice that on every spell, you're going to get all the things you expect. But in that blue italics is us adding our kind of gift to you, explaining what things are. Because you didn't get those in some of the SRD, and now you do. I will say, if you see something, let me see if we kept it. Ooh, new art. I hadn't seen that yet. Great. Makes me happy. Let me see if we have it in here. We had changed the font for spells that were added that were custom ones from us. Now, I want to know if we kept it. Here's haste. So maybe slow will be in here. Maybe slow will be in here. Because haste is choose a willing creature that you can see within range until the spell ends. The target speed is doubled. It gains a +2 to AC, has advantage on dex saves, and it gains an additional action on each of its turns. That action can only be used to take an attack, one weapon attack, dash, disengage, hide, or use object action. The spell ends, the target can't move or take actions until after its next turn as a wave of lethargy sweeps over it. Pretty cool. Let's see, we have slow. So I'm looking for the fire tongue eater one that Gato was casting. It looks like we didn't keep that that font. It must have been just for us. So let's look for slow. Let's look for slow. Where are you at, slow? Slow? Slow. Here you go. Whoever asked for slow earlier. 1 action, 120 foot, VSM, drop of molasses, concentration up to 1 minute. Yeah, of course, man. I wrote it down. I have my table from here to here is a big dry erase board, so I just write things on it as I'm doing it. You alter timer around up to 6 creatures of your choice in a 40-foot cube within range. Your target must succeed on a wisdom save or be affected by this spell for the duration. An affected target speed is halved. It takes -2 penalty to AC and dex saves, and it cannot use reactions. That's pretty cool on its turn. That's a big thing, actually. That'll let you run through people for attack opportunity. On its reaction, on its turn, it can use either an action or a bonus action, not both, regardless of the creature's abilities or magic items. Clarification. It can't make more than 1 melee or range attack on its turn, for clarification. If the creature attempts to cast a spell while the casting time of 1 action, roll a d20. On 11 or higher, the spell doesn't take effect until the creature's next turn. And the creature must use its action on that turn to complete the spell. Woo! If it can't, the spell is wasted. I hope that answers what you're looking for, Road. Basically, yes, you're slowed. But I have all these abilities. You don't now. Pick one thing. So, slow is really strong in this edition. Really cool. Spider Climb is here for you. We clarify a lot of spells to tell you when things will stack and they normally don't. Spirit Guardians, probably the most fought spell in my table for a long time. It's very powerful. You call 4 spirits to protect you. They fit around you in the distance of 15 foot for the duration. When you cast the spell, you can designate any number of creatures you can see to be unaffected by it. An affected creature's speed is halved in the area, and when the creature enters the area for the first time on that turn, or starts its turn there, it must make a wisdom save. On a failed save, the creature takes 3d8 radiant damage, or 3d8 necrotic damage. On a successful save, the creature takes half as much damage. So we kind of cleaned up Spirit Guardians. Awesome art, by the way. Scrolling through these, Vampiric Touch, Zone of Truth, Water Breathing, all that stuff's there. We get into ritual descriptions. I love rituals. You got things like Alarm, Animate Dead in your rituals, Arcane Lock, Augury, Arcanist Magic Aura, Clairvoyance, Create Familiar. We have a pretty detailed write-up on the Familiar here. Detect Poison and Disease, Glyph of Warding, Identify, which is huge, Illusionary Script, Magic Circle, Phantom Steed, Magic Mouth, Prayer of Healing, and of course, Tiny Hut, one of my favorites of all time, and Unseen Servant. Pretty clean. We have some additional spell descriptions here. This section presents additional primordial or weird spells and 1 ritual used in adventures in the Kobold presses published in 2023. PCs will likely not have access to them, so they are listed separately from other spells so the GMs can find them quickly. So we thought ahead. We added spells that are going to be questions for things that are available in other publications coming up before we finish out printing and publishing this in 2024. So we got our Anti-Life Shell, our Bark Skin, our Blight, our Cloud Kill, Death Ward, Druid Craft. You're seeing a bunch of stuff here that you normally didn't get to see. Freedom of Movement, controversial spell. Produce Flame, Ice Storm, Shillelagh, Speak with Animals, and so on. Pretty big spellcasting section, everybody. Does anyone have any questions on spellcasting? Road, did the slow answer your question for spellcasting before we do the final chapter here and go through monsters, which is my favorite section? Obviously, as a GM, I'm a monster fan. Mandy, I expect you to be a monster fan as well. If it's the Mandy, I think it is. It sure is a flaming skull. Do you like flaming skulls? I like flaming skulls. Let's look at flaming skulls. So this is the whole idea of monsters and optional rule of doom. Yeah. no problem, Road. That's why we're here. We're looking at this together. I have not cracked this open since the final version came out. For total transparency, this is the first time I have seen the final version. The original version I have was not 177 pages when I was doing Valiant Soil. This is the brand new one. This is my first time looking through it with you. So, I think for me, this is the one thing I would like it to just be a rule. I will always use it as a rule with me running it. This chapter contains more than 50 monsters, including NPCs, described with lore, backgrounds, and game rules for use of the table. Period. We're giving you descriptions and everything. Very important, the Doom rule. If you have played other games out there that give GMs a ever-building or ever-growing resource that you can use for the GM side of the table, letting you interact with the players and give your monsters a chance or to have really big moments for those creatures, this is the rule for you. On my home game, before I even knew about this, I started running Dragonlance, and I was using Takesis points. Little did I know, all designers, we all think in parallels. And this is what, at the time, they were doing. I'm super excited. Optional rule Doom. At the start of each combat encounter, the GM, Game Master, gains a special resource called Doom, based on the challenge rating, CR, of the encounter. As detailed in the Doom by Encounter tier table, the GM can use Doom to influence the results of a creature's die rolls, turning the tide on the players, PCs, or helping a creature last just one turn longer to get that spell off. Maybe they got their breath weapon back. The GM can spend Doom in the following ways. Give a creature advantage on an attack roll. Give a PC disadvantage on a save. Once per encounter, refresh, recharge, or otherwise gain one additional use of a limited use feature, such as a dragon's breath weapon, a legendary creature's legendary resistance, or a spell in a mage spell casting. Yep, exactly what it say, Myth. When you thought Doom couldn't get better, you can now recharge limited use abilities. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I love that they added this. This is something I was already doing. They listened to feedback. It made me hella happy that they added this. Now, for clarity, Doom isn't optional and existing to give creatures some extra staying power against particularly powerful, crafty, or resourceful PCs. Keep in mind, Doom doesn't have to be used in every combat encounter. As a GM, consider using Doom with encounter if combat encounter is likely the only combat encounter the PCs will face that day, and the PCs are well rested. You have multiple experienced players. You have 4 or more players, right? Your player characters have extra magical items, resources, optimized statistics, or similar aspects that make them tougher than the average PC. Like stream loot cards. If your encounter is particularly significant to the story, such as a fight against the leader of an antagonistic organization working against the PCs, the final fight against a major story arc, or a climactic fight against a powerful antagonist. Look, for me to you as a GM, I see Doom as your chance to let your baby shine. You want your kids to do well, right? But sometimes those fights go so fast that a monster doesn't last. And you're going to see Doom abilities also written into some of the monster stat blocks. And I know myself, when I look at an encounter, I write new Doom rules. For Valiant Soil, I wrote Soil Doom rules. And anytime something that was Soil, someone used Soil, they gained a Doom pool. Letting players do really cool things, but give me the chance to do things with them as well. And I believe in telling them, just so you know, this encounter's gonna be tough. I'm using Doom. Or this entire campaign, I'm using Doom. It lets the players know a game, and it gives them a signal to let them know, I'm not cheating, I'm playing the game, but my guys have some cool stuff they can do too. You have luck, I have Doom. So, below you'll see the table we've added. This is new. I think this is a great addition. I love this. We break down how to use monsters. We break down the experience points and challenge rating table, elements of the stat block, challenge rating. Look, One of the most controversial things in monster design is challenge rating and how an encounter works and how to build it. You can see we are doing this to rebuild and clean it up. You will see more of this as the final comes out. Woo, yawn. But you're going to see some of it here already with how you build a PC level and suitable creature CRs, right? 1 is 0 to 1/2, 2 to 4 is 1/8 to, 1/6, 1 to 15, and we just kind of break down all the things you can do for it. 5 to 30, that's your suitable encounter pieces, and we break down how CRs work, clarifying them a little bit because they've sucked in the past. They just haven't been good. We break down sizes, and we did change types. This is important. Ooh, I haven't seen this. I love this. I love this scale. Tiny, small, medium, large. Huge, gargantuan. Pretty cool they added that. I didn't know they were doing that. That's new to me. That makes me very happy as a monster person. So our types are aberration, beasts, celestial, constructs, dragons, elemental, fae, fiends, giants, humanoids, monstrosities, oozes, plants, undead. Those are our new ones, but there are new tags. And we have tags now to help. Yes, yellow dragon baby. Golem, here's our tags. Animal, golem, outsider. Outsider has angel, demon, devil, shape changer, lycanthrope, and then we have void. So there are some new types, tags that we've added. Tags specify a creature's type. If a creature has a tag, it appears as part of the creature's stat block, which we'll see below. You have your armor class, your hit points, your speed. Do they have burrow? Do they have climb? Do they have fly? Do they have swim? Using different speeds. Their perception, GM wisdom, right here. Unlike most creatures, creatures with the swim speed don't make melee attacks with disadvantage while underwater. Because why would they? Stealth, another GM wisdom here. This is super, I think this is kind of important to me. GM wisdom does a lot of stuff in this book. Tales of Valiant, a PC with invisible condition has advantage on dex stealth checks made to hide or sneak past a creature that relies on sight-based senses. Keep in mind that invisibility doesn't completely mask a creature's presence. Invisibility doesn't suppress the sound of footsteps or the smell of nervous sweat. The invisible condition grants no benefit when sneaking past a creature while within range of its non-sight-based senses, like keen sense or tremor sense, assuming the creature has such senses. I tell GMs this all the time. Something fun to memorize. Immune to and resistant to vulnerability. Multiple of those. We also have resistance, immune, senses, dark vision, keen sense, tremor sense, true sight, languages, ability modifiers, traits, actions. Okay? Multi-attack, ammunition, spell casting, your bonus actions, reactions, your limited usage, X per day, recharge after short, long, conditional. Obviously, you can use doom points. You have equipment, legendary creatures, which means they can do things that ordinary creatures can't. Legendary actions, layer actions, regional effects. I love those. And then we get into the actual creatures. There are 50 monsters in here. We're not going to go all over all of them, but I want to point out some of the cool things in stat blocks when I get to a big stat block. The most noticeable is that we have passive perception and stealth. Super awesome, really easy to use. I highly recommend it if you haven't been using it already. We have a stat bar. You'll notice that the stat is not there. It is just the bonus. This has been a hot topic conversation, but here's the thing. When you're trying to make a stat block as small as possible to fit on the page and ball things down, we can put the number there, but we have found that just the bonus is quicker to identify when you're looking. And when it says 13, if you really need to know how strong it is, you know that a 3 is a 16, 17, right? My brain. And then 4 is 19 and so on and so on. You have a little chart on your GM screen. I prefer the plus only because as a GM, I don't need those other numbers. I just need to be able to get my monster going quick without a lot of diving through, looking at everything. But if you need it as a scale of strength for description, you just need to reverse that one thing. And you'll get pretty good at it. Like if you have a +4 strength, you just say it has an 18. Because that 1 point difference doesn't change your physical description of it. That's my personal opinion. Right now, we're keeping it this way. It's 1 out. It doesn't mean it'll stay that way in the final. You obviously have a survey you can fill out to tell us if you need those stats and why. And I recommend when you fill out your survey, when you have areas to write things in, constructive criticism. Give us examples, why you use it, why it's important to you. Because if you just say, I don't like it, that's not, it's something we can use. Jeff wrote a blog post on our blog about constructive criticism. I highly recommend reading over that. It'll make you better at filling out the surveys. So you can see all these cool pieces as you go through. I'm going to scroll a little bit here. The Demon Husk. I love the Demon Husk. We use that. I redid it as soil. It was super fun. You can see they have, you know, different abilities that you recommend. You would see the Nequasit demons. They're in here. Pretty cool looking art. That's new to me as well. What I'm not seeing here is our Doom Pool abilities. Some monsters had cool Doom Pool abilities, and I hope we bring those back. Everyone has a description now. And those will be something that'll be open for everyone to use as well. I love our Black Dragon art. I think they're great. Yeah, I love the Doom. I like the Doom individual monster stuff. It gave monsters flavor. I would like to see a table where something for each creature type where you can add some cool Doom Pool stuff to them. I love the Doom Pool for creatures. I'm sad that is gone. Maybe, who knows though? It might have just been cut for the playtest. I don't know. They did add the regional effects like Acid Rain, Inciting Rage, Unnatural Heat. These are great for regional effects. I love regional effects. Make monsters feel like monsters. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm curious as to why it's not there. I'm really curious. Love the Red Dragon art. I love the burnt tips to the scales. Our Void Dragon. Our Star Void Dragon. Super cool. Elementals. Our Fire Elemental. It's got a Shredder vibe to me, mixed with like an owlbear. A Gelatinous Cube. Classic. Ghouls are in here as well. I'm a big fan of ghouls. I love them as monsters. I think they're great. Goblin. Bugbear. Got that kind of beastkin look to them. They look like an actual bear now. The champion version. Look at this armor. That guy rounds a corner. You just turn around. The Tetsubo. The Super Club. Our goblins. I love our hobgoblins. Our hobgoblins look like there's something out of like Hellraiser or something. I love the hobgoblin art. I'm a big fan of this style. Best Grimlock I've seen in a long time. I dig the Grimlock's art. I love the Harpy. Super fun monster if you don't use Harpies enough. I love what they have. I definitely would give them a Doom Pool. I would give them a group song. Is a Doom Pool cast. I think they deserve a Doom Pool cast for that. I think that'd be super fun to see. Why not, right? That's something that I would look at if I'm running the game. Hellhounds. There is a piece of Hellhounds they took out for size. I did ask about it. There was something about training Hellhounds to become a companion for you. Yeah, that's for space. I can tell you that. The variant options are for space. They will get added back in. The variants will be part of the monster book. We just needed to fit stuff in here when we were getting so high in the page count numbers. But variants, I'm 99% sure are coming back. I will even ask if that is something that's coming back, and I can bring it back to us next week. Hippogriff. Mechadrons. I love Mechadrons. A Cerberus variant, right? We have our Kobolds. Our Mechadrons are like we all know what Mechadrons are, right? They're Modrons. They're our Modrons. I love these. I love Mechadrons. I love the Plane of Law in the old Sigil, even though I always said Sigil, but Planescapes, I love them. I love that we brought them into this game. They're super cool. I love that our Mimic is a barrel. Barrel Mimics are great. Nothing like eating people in a barrel. I mean, shooting fish in a barrel. Good question, Frog Princess. Very astute question. Michael Hids, I love our little fungi people. I want to play a fungi people person. I think it'd be super fun. I'd love to see a Lineage heritage combo for them. You know what I'm saying? I'm super happy with the orc. I love the furry arms. I love the length, like kind of lankiness of them. They feel like survivors. They almost have a bat ape motif to them. I'm a big fan of the orcs. Yeah, the stapled hands to the shield, the nailed hands. I love it. Maybe it's a grasping shield, everybody. Maybe it's a grasping shield. I love it. Otyugh finally feels like a frog creature. Super cool. Got the Otyugh in here. A big owlbear fan. Got one in motion. Your Pegasus in the stat block. There's some new powers in here as well you will see as you're going through, which are really cool. I love the Vicious Bound. The owlbear roars and barrels through creatures. It moves up to 20 foot in a straight line and can move through any space of a medium or smaller creature. The first time it enters a creature's space during the move, the creature must make a DC 15 strength save. On failure, the creature takes 18 or 4d8 bludgeoning damage and is knocked prone. On success, the creature takes half damage and isn't knocked prone. Yep, very true, Frog, very true. Tags are important in this. They really are. They are a large celestial animal. A purple worm. Everyone loves purple worms. Rust monsters. I'm a big fan of rust monsters. I just think they're cool creatures. If I could have rust monsters in an aquarium, I would do it. I would do it. I would love to have a rust monster pet. They did get rid of alignment. Very astute. I was going to mention that at the end. They did get rid of alignment for creatures. They will talk about their intent in some of their descriptions, but the alignments are gone. Letting you do what you want with them. George Lucas your way. I always talk about alignments this way. How many of you are Star Wars fans? You fans of Star Wars? Have you ever noticed that every species that George Lucas has put in a movie is different than what that species is supposed to be? Jar Jar Binks, Gungans, are a warrior race. Jar Jar is not. Wookiees live in trees and are bad with technology and no good at it. Chewie runs the ship and fixes it. See what I'm saying? So I think to break the norms a lot of times, alignments keep them balled up and boxed up. And by doing this, it lets GMs feel like they can do more with them. I like it. I'm fine with it. If I want something to be a bad guy, it's going to be a bad guy. I don't care what the alignment is. Story determines intent for me with my creatures. Even if that story arc is simple. Protecting a place is raised undead. Yeah, Glath Bard. Yeah, exactly. Or maybe a skeleton is protecting a place and talks to you because the spirit is left behind and it still speaks with you and it's not evil. Sporeborn. While these things look horrible, but it could be something that helps you, wants to survive and fights off infections in the area. Like, there's just other things you can do with it. I love the apocalyptic fungus disease for all of you Last of Us fans. Really cool. Our sprite art. Am I the only one who thinks like this sprite looks like she is a power lifter or a bodybuilder? Like, this sprite looks like she lifts. This is a bulky sprite. This sprite can lift a full cup of water. Am I wrong? They have some cool bonus actions. They have Heart Sight and Swift Flight. Very cool bonus action stuff for a sprite. Right? She did not skip leg day. Or shoulders. Look at, she's capped. Starcrow, one of our custom pieces that's in here. Our Troll. Troll will mess your day up, by the way. Trolls in this are mean. Bonus action Frenzy. Woo! Wargs are in this. I love me some wargs and dogs. I'm a big dog fan. Yeah, there'll be more. Don't worry about it. There's gonna be a lot. I mean, we got a lot of Tome of Beast books, everybody. We just redid the first one for the 2023 revise. I love the low HP trigger abilities. I'm 100% down with that. I think it's super cool that they changed. There's like a stage to them. We do a lot of that in our blog. Our wargs, our zombies, a list of animals for you: insect, mastiff, rat swarm, ravens. Talk about diseases and rat plagues, right? Really good here. The wolf, NPCs for your game: acolyte, bandits, bandit captains, cultists, commoners, everything you need. I do dig this art a lot. And then the cultist fanatic. Super cool. Druid, knight. Well, this is a sample, Joe. This isn't everything. This is a sample, and it is 5e parallel. We have tons of Fae stuff out there. I recommend, if you are going to run a Fae game, check out Book of Ebon Tides from us. I ran a campaign for Kobold Press using it. If you want Fae options, that thing is jam-packed with Fae options. Jam-packed. This is just the sample, and it isn't all the monsters, because you got to remember, we're trying to take 2 books, cram them into 1 playtest for you. So when this comes out in the final version, there's 2 books. The monsters are its own book. If there's anything we do, it's monsters. But you'll find some more stuff, Joe. So if you haven't checked out Book of Ebon Tide, I would highly recommend it. We love Fae here. There are tons of Fae. Promise you. I promise you. Just not in this playtest. There's not a lot of them. There are some. And you can easily convert a 5e thing over. No problems. Veteran, thug, and then our appendix. Okay, everybody. This is an important area for GMs and players to know. I think this is something that gets overlooked a lot. But the idea of how blinded, charmed, and deafened worked is in here. Exhaustion got a little bit of an overhaul. I like exhaustion. I know people have problems with exhaustion in 5e, saying it's too powerful. And my answer to all of the players and GMs out there that have problems with it is, take a rest. Take a rest. That's all you got to do. Take a long rest to reduce that exhaustion by 1 level. Sometimes you need days of it. As GMs and players, we try to force all of our adventuring in like a 1 month in-game span. And I feel like we should be playing with time more when we run games. Everything shouldn't be 24-hour day. Put some downtime in there for them. Let them rest. Let them recover. Exhaustion is a powerful mechanic that I believe is there to help your players take a breather. And a lot of us don't do it. So we did touch it up here. It is a little cleaner in how it's done. If you have any other versions of exhaustion you'd like to see, again, the survey is out for 2 months. Fill that puppy out. All your other conditions, from frightened, grappled, poisoned, incapacitated, prone, invisibility, restrained, stunned, paralyzed, surprised, petrified, and unconscious, are all in here. Whew! Everybody, this is a pretty deep dive. If there is anything specific before I close out the show, I expected to go about 2.5 hours today. I wanted to give this book all of the stuff that it deserves. The bold, be brave, be valiant is now our motto for Tales of the Valiant. It's a high fantasy-based game for 5e, giving you a chance to continue your journey with the stuff that you want. I want you to enjoy it. I want you to know and have the answers to anything you have questions for. I know as a GM who GMs games professionally and creates content for companies that it can be trying picking up a new system and really diving into something that may feel foreign. We did our best to make sure that 5e products can easily be adapted back into Tales of the Valiant, and that our library that we've been making for 17 years? However long Kobold Press has been around, since 5e has been around, we want you to be able to continue using things like Book of Ebon Tides, the Book of Blades, and adding them into your games. There's no reason that you can't adapt those things over and expect to see things for conversion as we move forward. Right now, for the next 2 months, this is our playtest phase for the alpha preview that we just looked through. Fill out the survey, make sure you get your stuff in there. If you're not in our Discord, join the Discord. There are a lot of wonderful people talking about the game there, how they're playing it, what they're doing with it. And I feel if you're looking for a group to play, maybe your group isn't ready to switch, you're in the middle of a campaign. We've all been there. Pick up a group there to play with. And if you're going to be at Gen Con, I'll remind you, you can come and get some generic tickets. I believe all our tables are sold out, but like I said, people cancel all the time. They drink too much, they hang out too much, they get too sleepy, they find something else to do. Who knows? Bring some generic, see if you can't pick up a game. And I think one of our VIP tables, maybe 2 of them, have a spot left. I'm going to be running a VIP game. See if there is a spot available at my table if you're going to be there and you're interested in trying to play a game with me. It's a 4-hour slot. The adventures are like 2.5 as we teach the game, go through, and there's a pre and post survey to go through. And then if you do the VIP, there's some swag as well. It's pretty awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope I answered as many questions as possible. Anything that you were wondering about for TOV, this book brings a lot more for you. Also, thank you for those who did their Mythic. I believe you used your Prime today for us. Thank you. And if you missed this broadcast or you only saw half of it, I'd like to remind everybody, we put everything up over on YouTube for Kobold Chats on Friday at noon, barring some YouTube catastrophe. They go up over there. As soon as I'm done with this, I'll start exporting it and get it ready to go. If you have other friends that are interested in this, the backer kit will be opening soon, which means they'll have the ability to get in and pick things up. And if you want to pick up this playtest and you missed our Kickstarter, you can still pick them up today. It is $9.99 for it. You can pick those up over in our store. And I have one last thing for us. We've been doing the prepared series here a decent amount. We've talked about it. We've looked over it. We built Valiant soil with it. And now over on our storefront, you can get a hold of our prepared series in hardback. And I believe, let me double check this. I believe it is currently shipping. Let me scroll and look. It sure is. Prepared collection is now available in our storefront. If you like the prepared series, check it out. This is a link here. And I have a copy of the hardback here. This hardback is a bunch of the adventures that you can see. And I'm going to move my mic and we're going to try something here live. I have a new camera that allows us to check things out. And I feel like since you guys all stuck around this long, I'll show you what it looks like. So give me just a second as I switch us down to this and get us focused in to the piece. We're zoom in a little bit here, everybody. Ta-da! Scroll up. Oop, wrong way. Hi, that's me. Look at how it distorts me. It's awesome. Let me scroll this up a little bit. Scroll me, please. Why is it not? Do what I'm telling you to do. There we go. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit more. So, this is the prepared book. You can see all the wonderful glory that is the prepared, that is now out and available for people to pick up. It is a full book, by the way, of all of our prepared pieces that are adventures and credits for the adventures. But you have all of these, the 8 faces of Babazoo. I'm going to flip through this quickly just so you all can see it. We have the maps that are in here. Impregnable Fortress of Dib, if you were a Dib fan. Yes, that is a wagon fortress. Marrow Mines are in here if you're looking for things to run and convert. These are all prepared adventures that we have made before. Dib's Wagon of Doom is the second version as well. Vault of Palon, the Pious, the Starry Breach, and all the maps and everything are in here for you. Our lovely Void Dragon art and Disposal into the Darkness. And you can easily convert these now if you want to use these to run for your Tales of the Valiant playtest. Yipping Retreat. I'm still flipping. We're doing this quick so you can see. The Beast of Dib. More stuff, everybody. As we kind of can see, Ooze Tomb of the Oathbreaker. And everything is in this nice little hardback. The link is there for you. Unless you get a DM pickup game at Gen Con. Yeah, man. Love this, by the way. Love this art piece. One of my favorites. So, if you're looking for something fun to pick up and play, this might be a good thing for you to use. If you want to test Tales of the Valiant, these are some great adventures for you to use and test things out. It's easy to convert. They're 5e. Monsters as they are work just fine at Tales of the Valiant. Slap a Doom ability on them and you got something awesome. Love this art piece as well. And as we go through, you just can see all of the lovely bite-sized morsel adventures for you to be able to run in your games. I'm still flipping. I can't even do this quick enough. I'm just going to do this. You can see all the craziness that's in here for this game. Along in the back of the appendix has magical items for you to add to your games as well. Cities and towns, all that stuff. This is out now. You can pick this up as we are talking. So, if you are interested in something like this, pick it up. It's pretty cool. So let me take us back to me. Whoop. So thank you for joining us, everybody. I hope this helped you guys enjoy what we have to come and the cool, amazing pieces that we're making and what's going on with Tales of the Valiant and what's going on, obviously, with the Prepared series. I will see you all next week where we're going to dive into, I think I'm going to showcase Ranger and Druid and the 10 levels that came out as a playtest for the Kickstarter. Those surveys are in. And then I also think I might look into some of these adventures. Lifted my spirits after not being on the list yesterday. List for what, Frozen Knight? I don't know what the list is. What you're talking about, unfortunately. List for what, bud? List for what? Oh, the world list. Yeah. There was a lot of worlds got submitted. That was a big undertaking for the people who had to judge all those. There was so many submitted. The player world, yeah. They just put a round out for Kobold Press people to now submit theirs. I think I'm going to submit 1 or 2 as well. Well, probably 1. I don't have time to really do 2 before Gen Con because our cutoff day is real soon. So that's it from me, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this. If this is on YouTube afterwards and you're watching it, comment down below. Is there something from Tales of the Valiant you're looking forward to? Is there a question you have that I didn't answer today? Is there something that you want to see or you're really looking forward to in the future? My question as a GM to all the GMs out there is, how are you going to use Doom? Do you have anything special that you think Doom should be used for? Do you have any ideas? I do, and one of them involves when spells are cast, and when a player makes the save, I can gain a Doom pool. I think that's a great way to make your evil casters get stuff when players successfully fight off their spells, giving them a chance next time they cast to do something really cool. That's it for us over here at Kobold Chats. If you're watching this on YouTube, on this side, there's going to be a video for you to watch, probably Valiant Soil, a live play, a first live play of Tales of the Valiant. And on this side, there's going to be a button to click the bell. We're going to be doing more live stuff over there. And at Gen Con, expect me to be on Twitch and on YouTube live at Gen Con. I'll be doing a bunch of stuff from the show floor, games that I'm running, and just overall supporting those who couldn't make it. If you see me at the con, please come up and say hi, shake hands. Maybe I'll have something special for you. That's it for us over here on Kobold Chats today. I will see you next week with a special announcement for something very special before Gen Con. Bye, everybody.